Hello, good evening. How are you all? Hello, good evening, good evening. How are you all? Welcome to the session. Let's start with our class then. So, today, see, we have completed Module D, Module C, Module B, and now today we'll be completing Module A. Okay, I will be completing the classes like modules here. Then tomorrow morning we'll be having a session where we'll be discussing all the timelines, sections, and cases that are relevant for you all in BRBL exam. Okay, chale, let's start with our class. We are doing BRBL Module A. This is in one shot. I'm Advocate Devshree Mam. Let's start. Okay, so basically, Module A talks about two things. That is, in general, it has a lot of topics. Okay, it has 7 units, but in initial 3 units we are talking again and again about BR Act and the RBI Act. BR Act means Banking Regulation Act. RBI Act means Reserve Bank of India Act. They both are the acts which governs our basic banking law. Okay, so in the 3 units initially we'll be talking about these two randomly, like about licensing, how RBI gives us permissions to do things, how RBI is the apex body, etc. In unit 4 we are talking about amalgamation, mergers and acquisitions by banks. Then in unit 5 we are talking about different types of banks, that we have public sector banks, private sector banks, RRBs, corporate banks, banking companies, etc., etc. We are talking about those. Okay? And in this, we'll be talking about the SBI Act. We'll be talking about the Nationalization of Banks Act of 1970 and 1980, and then we'll be moving towards the NBFC. Unit 6 talks about NBFC. Unit 6 may what are NBFCs? What was the criteria for NBFC? What is the basic this net on funds of NBFCs? There are 4 layers in NBFC, so we'll be talking about those. And then we'll be talking about, in the 7th unit, we'll be talking about how banking came in India and what were the rules and regulations. So, like, what were the committees formed, what was the council that helped us make the banking regulations and make updates in the banking channels. Okay, basically unit A say you'll be getting around 10 to 12 marks. Okay, unit A and B together holds around 30 marks. Module A and module B holds around 30 marks. These 30 marks, in these 30 marks, 15 plus from module B and 10 to 15 from module A. It is totally going to depend upon how much questions are coming from module B. That will determine your module A. Minimum 10, maximum 12, 13. It's open aega. Module A is not hard. Module A does not contain a lot of things. But there are sections in BR Act and the RBI Act that you have to know. It is important for you to learn those sections, like cancellation, suspension, what are the things that banks can do, what are the businesses that banks can do, etc. These are the sections. There is a chart after unit 2. There is a chart prepared by me in which there are sections mentioned. Okay, and we'll be talking about all the sections that are relevant in whole of modules of, like, basically full of BRBL in tomorrow morning's class. So let's move forward. Okay, first unit is legal frameworks of regulation of bank. So banking means what is the basic core function of banking. Bank क्या करता है? What does bank do? Basic idea क्या है? What is the core feature of bank? That is, they accept money and they lend money. So they accept money and they lend money. The money that is coming to bank is getting lended out to the people itself. Okay, this money is returned back to the customer by the way of when he asks for it. When there is a term when they want to withdraw it. So the banking is accepting deposits from the public for lending. Essentials of banking is acceptance from public of deposit. So we go to the bank, we put our money there, right? Then deposit which is repayable on demand. This deposit is always repayable on demand. Ki will bank come to your place and say ki le lo paise, take your money? No. Bank will always give your money back only and only if you're asking for it. So it is not कि आप मुंह से बोल रहे हो that you are saying it out कि I want my money. You can do the transactions. Like I send money from my Google Pay to your Google Pay account, right? From my Google Pay, from my account to your account using Google Pay. Now, this is me demanding that I am demanding my bank to transfer money from my account to your account. Withdrawal can be by check, draft, or order. So, this withdrawal can be by the way of check. I can fill out a check. I can issue it in your name. I can issue it on my name as well. It can be by a draft. It can be by order. Okay. Next is deposit is used for lending or investment. That this specific money that I have deposited with the bank. What will bank do with this? Bank will lend it out to those who need it, and bank will charge interest from them. For example, bank is giving me 2% on my savings bank account. Okay? It is the 2% interest that they are giving me. And for the same amount, bank is lending out the same for 7%. So the 5% is the income of the bank. Okay. Wait. Banking in India is mainly governed by BR Act and the RBI Act. The Reserve Bank of India and the Government of India exercise control over banks right from the opening of bank to their winding up of by the virtue of the powers conferred under the statute. So what are we going to focus on? We are going to focus on the BR Act and the RBI Act. Whatever, see, every single bank needs to be in conscience with the two act. We cannot go against the BR Act and the RBI Act. If you are going against the BR Act and the RBI Act, there has to be a special provision in your specific act. Here at this point BR Act won't apply, because special law, it is always the rule of the law that special law prevails over the general law. And you cannot, as a banking company in India, you can never go against RBI in whatever the situation may be. Since RBI is the apex bank, it is the father bank of the country, you cannot go against it. All the regulatory provisions are not uniformly applicable to all banks. The applicability of the provisions of these acts to a bank depends on its constitution, in under what they are being made. What is that is whether they are a statutory corporation, that is they are made under a law. Statutory corporation means statute kya hota? Statute means law. Are they made under the law? Is there a specific law for them? Like for RRBs, there is RRB Act. For SBI, there is SBI Act. For Nationalized Bank, there is Nationalized Bank of 1970 and 1980. For RBI, there is RBI Act. So are they made under a specific law? Cooperative banks, we have cooperative law, cooperative banks law, society law. A banking company or a cooperative society. So are they made under cooperative society or it is a banking company? Banking company is made where? Under the Companies Act. A company that is doing banking activities. In this unit, you will look at how is the bank going to work basically. Definition of banking and business limits. Banking is the acceptance of deposit of money from the public for the purpose of lending. This is the core ideology, right? Next, deposit terms. These deposits may be repayable on demand. I've already told you this. Permitted business. See, banks can do this is the basic act that they take money and they lend out. Is there any other work they can do? Yes, there is. There is a list given under section 6. From section 6 to section 9, it is important for you to learn what are the things that are given from section 6 to section 9. Section 6 is like talking about what are the business they can do. Section 9 is telling us about what are the properties bank can hold. There is a section which tells us what are the things bank cannot do. Okay? Banks are restricted. This is important. Banks are restricted, strictly prohibited from undertaking any trading activities. That is, they cannot sell and buy goods. Selling and buying, purchasing of goods is prohibited under the BR Act and the RBI Act. Bank is not allowed to do so. Why? Because see, if bank is going to get involved in the okay, trading of goods and services, trading of goods basically, they are going to be focusing on that. And the basic idea is कि हम money, we provide the service. Basic ideology is that we provide the service. Provide service to whom? For to the general public at large. If there are no banks, there is no regulation of money in the country. People will be scared to put their money every time at home. They will be getting nothing because money is sitting idly. The money will not be rotating in the market. And how much money will RBI keep generating? And there is a gold ratio that is kept by the central government, and as per that only the money is made by the RBI. RBI ऐसे तो पैसे नहीं छापता. They do not print out money just because they want to, because there is a need in the country. There is some equivalent amount kept. If the country is going to print out money on random basis, then there will be no ending of money. आज चाहिए पैसे छाप लेते हैं. We need money, let's print it out. Constitution of banks. Bank in India are established under different legal framework, and the applicability of regulatory provisions depend upon their constitution. How are they made? ठीक है, whether it is a statutory corporation that is made under specific statute, registered company that is made under the Companies Act, cooperative society that is Cooperative Society Act, RRBs under RRBs Act. ठीक है. Next is Reserve Bank of India. Let's take an overview about from Reserve Bank of India. This was established. You have to remember the date, please. Reserve Bank of India is established by whom? The central government, obviously. It came into force on 1st of April 1935. That is, the act is of 1934 but came in force from 1st April. How will you remember this? Ki financial year starts from 1st April, sorry. That is how you are going to remember this. 34 and 35. एक साल आया, अगले साल से लगा. We start from next year every time, na? So next year से लगा. It came in 1934 but got applicable from 1935. This date is important. Provides authority. See, if the examiner wants to make a paper easy for you and they want you to put your brains on specific dates, a few dates can also be asked. Provides authority to regulate currency and credit system. That is, money is getting regulated by the RBI. RBI being the apex body of money regulator in the country. Ensures monetary stability and economic growth. That is, we are working on the growth of the economy. Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. The RBI Act constitutes the Reserve Bank of India as the central bank. Central board mein this is given under section 8 of the RBI Act. This composition is very important for you. Okay, vested with the general superintendents, consist of a governor, up to 4 deputy governor and directors. These are 10 in total, nominated by central government. These directors are from the areas of industries, commerce, finance, economics, agriculture. There are 2 government officials here as well. The 4 directors are from, plus there are 1 director from each local board. That is from east, north, west and south. Okay, in the next slide you'll be easily able to read the composition. The key sections and the powers are given under section 17, 18 and 19. Section 17 talks about, defines the manners in which the RBI conducts business. Ki how RBI is going to deal, how RBI is going to treat, how RBI is going to work with money, when what situation RBI is going to print out money. On what business can RBI put money into? This is everything. These all things are given under the RBI Act. So section 17 is talking about ki how RBI is going to conduct business. कैसे काम करेगा? How will they work? Section 18 deals with emergency loans to bank. See, sometimes situation comes that ki bank has taken money from you and bank has lended out money. And a customer comes who has deposited a lot of money, or there is a lot of money request from the bank and a lot of customers are coming for withdrawal. At the same moment, bank do not have a lot of money to give out to their customers. Suppose something happened, X situation happened, and everybody thinks that we cannot trust bank anymore. This is just an example. X situation happened and people think that we do not trust bank. So a lot of people are going and asking for money. Every time they do not have money ready, liquidated cash is not available at all the times. So can a normal bank ask for loan from RBI? Yes. In emergency situations, bank can ask loan from RBI, and this is given under section 18. Section 19 talks about prohibits the bank from making regular loans, advances, accepting non-demand bills or allowing interest on deposit. Just a normal bank, how the normal bank works. They accept money, they give out loan, they work for the customers, they work for the betterment, whatever the customer is asking for, better services provision, so that a lot of customer comes to them. This is not what RBI does. They do not give loans out to normal people. You and I cannot go to RBI to ask loan. RBI will not accept our deposit. You and I again cannot go to RBI for loan, and RBI will not provide loans interest on any sort of deposit. This is the prohibitory section. Okay. Section 19 is a negative section in nature. That is, it is putting prohibitions. मना कर रहे हैं, नहीं करना. Saying no, that you cannot do this. Okay. Again, so let's talk about the composition. So let's break it down. How many directors are there actually? The central government can nominate 10 directors. Can, it is a choice. It is not a must, it is can. Up to 10 they can. Which is breakdown is 4 directors are from each side. तो 4 director हैं जो अलग अलग boards के. 4 directors from each board. 10 directors from different industries nominated by the central government. 2 government officials also nominated by the central government. So, how many directors are there? There are 16 directors, 10 from the nomination of central government, 2 government officials. There are 14 directors, 10 nominated by the central government, 4 from different boards, and 2 people who are representing the central government. Now, and we have 1 governor. We have 4 up to 4 deputy governor, 10 directors, 4 directors, and see total कितने जने हैं यहाँ पे? 1 4 1 suppose there are 40. 1 4 5 5 or 10 15 15 and 4 19 21 up to 21 people in the board. ठीक है? Up to बोल रही हूँ. Why I am saying using the word up to? Because the word up to is written here. So there can be 1, 2, 3 deputy directors. There can be 4 deputy directors. So there is a deputy directors, deputy governors will be there. But maximum it will be decided by the central government itself. Okay? So up to 21 people. A minimum of 18 people. Minimum 18 up to 21. Again, have to remember this composition. Next, section 20 and 21 talks about the obligations. Okay? Section 20 and 21 talks about obligates the RBI to transact government business and manage public deposit. Section 22 talks about RBI's exclusive right to issue currency note. It is the RBI who can issue the currency note only. Only RBI can print out our currency note. You all have seen Dhurandhar, right? Dhurandhar you have seen. There are 2 brothers who are printing the Indian notes of 500 rupees and 1000 rupees. They've got the the press of it. Yeah, can they do that? No. Why are we calling it a fake currency? Because it is not printed by the government. It is printed by the RBI. It is printed by somebody else. They can be a person from India. They can be a person from outside India. The currency issued by people other than RBI is fake currency, and those who are issuing this will face consequences like punishment and imprisonment to jail. Section 24 talks about the setup of maximum note domination is 10,000. Section 24 is saying that in India there can be a note of a currency of 10,000, that is maximum which is allowed. Right now the maximum denomination that we have is 500. In a few years ago it was up to 2000. We had a 2000 rupees note, right? It is saying कि 10,000 तक के notes print कर सकता है RBI. That RBI can print notes up to 10,000 rupees. A note of 10,000 rupees. A single note of 10,000 rupees. Section 42 requires scheduled bank to maintain cash reserves as a percentage to their net demand and time liabilities with RBI. What is it talking about? CRRs as a percentage requirement that every scheduled bank should maintain a CRR. Banking Regulation Act, an overview. ठीक है? अब an overview. Primary legislation of regulating of banking companies. तो जहाँ पे हमारा RBI Act बात कर रहा है RBI के बारे में, that RBI Act is talking about RBI's. The earlier one was RBI Act. Right now we will be talking about the BR Act. Shitakonda ji. Okay, when RBI Act is talking about what RBI can do, what RBI will do. In this situation, RBI will do this. In situation B, RBI will do that. RBI is regulator of money. RBI is helper of government. RBI is printer of money. RBI is regulator of all banks. This is what RBI Act is talking about. These are the powers of RBI. But the BR Act is talking about all the banks in the country. How all the banks in the country are going to get regulated. How all the banks in the country are going to be supervised, who is going to control all the banks, what should all banks in the country do. Okay, so originally passed as Banking Companies Act, the name was Banking Companies Act, but got renamed in 1965. Empowers RBI. This act also gives powers to RBI. So RBI को powers कहाँ से मिलती है? Where does RBI get its powers from? The RBI Act of 1934 and the BR Act of 1949. Yeah, not just only RBI Act but also BR Act that gives power to the RBI. Applies to all banking companies including cooperative banks with amendment. So initially BR Act wasn't applicable on the cooperative banks, but an amendment was made and this BR Act is now applicable to cooperative banks as well. So BR Act 1949. This act provides the specific legal framework for regulating all banking firms in India. That all the banking firms, how are they going to work? Section 7 talks about restricts the use of the word bank, banker or banking to banking companies only. Can I open a bank? Can I open a company name Devshree Bank Limited? No, because I'm not a banking company. I cannot use the word bank, banker or banking in my name. I cannot use unless I am allowed by RBI. I can use these words only if I am allowed by RBI as a banking company. Section 8 prohibits that banks should prohibit from engaging in direct or indirect trading. That bank will not deal in trading activities. Section 10B talks about 10B and 10BB talks about requiring banking companies to be managed by the whole-time chairman. So there will be a whole-time chairman in a banking company 24/7. There will be a person, not 24/7, let's say every time on every daily basis there will be a chairman who will be managing the banking companies and gives RBI power to appoint one if needed. And if the chair is vacated, then there will the RBI has the power to appoint a one for a banking company. Section 16 says that prohibits common directors between different banking companies. That is, you can be a director of one banking company only. One person can be a director of one banking company only. Only one banking company at a time. Okay. So the star point here is a person can be a director of 20 companies at a time, out of which only 10 can be public companies and only one can be a banking company. Suppose I want to be a director. Can I be a director of more than one company? Yes. At a time, I can be a director of 20 companies. Out of these 20 companies, only 10 can be public. So 10 public, 10 private. Private means there is no maximum limit. Maybe I want to be a director of just one public company. Can I be a director of 19 private companies? Yes. So the limit is on public company ki only if 10 of public company, not more than 10. And out of these 10 public companies, I can be a member of only one banking company. Out of, I can be a director of one banking company only. Why? Because banks are in competition with each other. SBI, PNB, HDFC, ICICI, Axis, Kotak, etc., etc. They all are in competition with each other. One director for one banking company only. Why? Because all of them are providing services, and services sector may one cannot share the secret. How? See, services are in the way that the customer is satisfied. Every company has their different point of view how to make the customer satisfied, and their rules and regulations, their strategies are different. You cannot use same strategies at different places, right? The two companies cannot grow together using same strategies because they have same director. Section 17. Section 17, 20, 21A, 22, 26, 35 and 35A. Again, very important. Okay. Section 17 says, mandates the creation of reserve funds, transferring at least 20% of the annual profits before declaring dividend. What does this means? That suppose a company is earning 10 lakh rupees in 1 year. Okay? This is the profit. Profit is 10 lakh rupees. Out of these 10 lakh rupees, it is mandated to keep 20% in our reserve funds. That is how much? 2 lakh rupees as RF reserve funds, and then the remaining will be divided, and the remaining 8 lakhs and remaining 8 lakhs as dividend. Before giving dividend, 20% of the total profit will be kept in funds. Why? So that when there is a need of money in urgency, these funds can be used. When there is an urgency of like there are a lot of NPAs, these funds can be used. When bank needs money, these funds can be used. Impose restrictions on loans and advances to directors or firms in which they are interested. That is, if I am a director of a company, okay, it has been said that I can be a director of 20 companies, and out of which I can be a director of one company, one banking company as well. Let's say, take an example that I'm a director of SBI. SBI, I'm a director at SBI. Okay, 10 private companies and 5 public companies. Okay, 10 private companies and 5 public companies. I'm a director of 16 companies at a time. Okay. Now, I, being a director of SBI, cannot give loan to myself. First of all, SBI cannot give loans to me. SBI cannot give loans to these companies, and SBI cannot give loans to these 5 public companies as well. No loans to directors or firms in which they are interested. Okay. Now, this is me. This is me. This is being director. Okay. Can I, being a director of SBI, give loan to my friends and families? No. Why? Because again, I do not want my money, the money of the country, the money of a specific banking agency to be used for my personal sake. Why? See, loans are given on the basis of merits. As a randomly, you do not give loans. You see whether the person is capable enough to give your money back to you or not. Right? Now, if I am a director, can I influence the people, my bank, to give money to my loans? I do not take loan in my name. Rather, I ask my husband, my mother, my father, my siblings, my family members to take loan on their own name. Yes. So, Me being a director of SBI cannot give, see, SBI cannot give loans to the places where I am director or where I am interested in, or suppose there is a partnership firm also that I am involved in. Okay, so here also you cannot give loan, and SBI cannot give loans to people, my close relatives as well. Is this clear? Section 21A. Interest rates charged by banks are not subject to scrutiny by court. This is important. That is, if suppose you are charging, suppose HDFC is giving me 2% per annum on savings bank, PNB is giving me 2.5%, SBI is giving me 3%, different bank giving different percentile, and different bank giving different percentage of loan. They are taking different interest on loans. Can court interfere in that matter? Whatever the situation may be, court will never ask bank ki why are you charging this high percent or this low percent? Why are you giving such percentile of interest on such things? Why? Because it is a service sector which is providing you these money. This is their forte. Courts cannot intervene at any situation. Section 22. Now, let's take an example. Suppose I'm a person, I wanted loan. I took a loan at 7%. Okay. Right now, bank is asking me, ma'am, loan wapis do, give us our money back. Now, situation comes that I do not have money and I go to court. Ki please ask bank to not charge me interest. I'll pay the principal back, but I can just give you 2% interest. Can I go to court for that? No. Why? Because court will not interfere here. Can court interfere in any sort of matter of interest? Can tribunals interfere in the interest matter? No, because it is the forte of bank. Deals with licensing of banking companies. Section 22 talks about licensing of banking company. Again, a very important section, that if you do not have license from RBI, you cannot do banking business. Can this license be taken away by the RBI? Yes, it can be. Section 26 requires a return of unclaimed deposit inactive for 10 years to be submitted annually. That is, suppose there is every year some accounts get made deaf. They are declared deaf. That is, depositor they are not using the money from last 10 years. There is no activity in the account for 10 years. Deaf account ki jo money hai, the deaf account should be tallied and a return should be filed on his. This is said every year. A return on the unclaimed deposit have to be filed. This is given under section 26. 35, because see, the money of the deaf is not a profit of the bank. This money is used for the education of and awareness of the customers, and this money will be given back to the customer when the customer shows is sufficient cause why they were inactive for 10 years. But can this money is in any sorts of way not of the bank? That is why we are asking for returns that do not show this in your profits, rather in form. Section 35 and 35A, again an important section, empowers RBI to inspect bank books and issue binding directions in the public interest. That is, RBI can ask for your books of accounts at any moment it deems fit. Does anybody have any doubt in any part of RBI Act brief and BR Act brief? So if you have any doubt, you have to let me know right now. Do you have any doubt? See, sections here, but any specific area you want to ask, you can. Moving forward. Definitions. This is given under section 5. These two definitions are important. Again, banking means accepting money. This is given under section 5. The definition, money lete hain, we take money, we give out loans. Banking company means those who are made for banking business under Companies Act and are have license by RBI. Okay? Banking की definition is in 25B and banking company's definition is under 5C. Any company made under Companies Act 1956 or 2013 that transacts the business of banking in India with RBI license. Okay. Section 49A is a very important section here, restricting on accepting checkable deposit. Section 49A talks about that we banks cannot accept checkable deposits. Section 56 talks about application to cooperative banks. This section got added by the amendment. Okay. BRI does not apply to primary agriculture credit society and long-term agriculture financing cooperative societies. Here again, where does BR Act does not apply? Restriction of BR Act has come. You have to learn this. Is there any limit like minimum maximum for interest rate? No, Chitakonda ji. See, banks, it is again the forte of bank. Initially, this was the percentile of interest was suggested by RBI. Okay, RBI used to regulate the percentage, that how much money, how much percentage bank can charge, or how much percentage bank can give on savings. But this has been let go on by the bank. There has been amendments in the RBI Act and the BR Act, and now it is the forte of the bank, how bank want to treat, how what percentile of interest they want to give. It is the choice of the bank. RBI does not interfere in that as well. Now, businesses of banking. 5-star question, please slide again. What all things banks can do? They can borrow, they can lend, they deal in bill of exchange, promissory note, etc. See, normally bank do not accept promissory notes. Normally I'm telling you, because people are very smart these days. They do not fulfill their promise. Okay, nobody is of trust. People do not trust each other very easily. So promissory notes बहुत कम use होते हैं. But there is a concept of government promissory note. Government promissory note. These are used. These are made by the government. Okay, these banks do deal, because here there is an authentication by the government that the government will not do bad to their customers. MCLR plus 2 per, like, is wrong, ma'am. See, it is MCLR and 2 plus percentage, I guess you are asking. See, this was used. This is the criteria that banks use. There is no hardcore rule. There is no hardcore rule. This is the ideology that banks follow. There is nowhere mentioned कि इतना ही percentage bank can give and इतना ही percentage bank can charge. There is no restriction on the bank. It is the choice of the bank how much percentage they want to give and take. This is the criteria that gets used. This is a common practice. No. Okay. So they can borrow, they can lend, they can deal in bill of exchange. I have told you how banks deal in bill of exchange. Bill of exchange, how do bank deal? They discount bill of exchange. Banks give deferred guarantee. Banks give guarantees. Bank gives letter of credit. They're issuing letter of credit, traveler's check, guarantees. That is, you already have studied about this in PVP, right? कैसे guarantee देता है bank? How does bank give in guarantee? Bank acts as an indemnifier too. ठीक है? Bank acts as an indemnifier. Bank acts as a guarantor. Bank gives deferred payment guarantee. Bank has a lot of work that it does. It is not just accepting and giving money. Why? Because bank is, the more the better the services a bank provides, the more better people, more people prefer to go there. Why do people prefer public sector bank? Because they think that the government is involved there, they'll not be frauded in any sort of way. Nobody will take their money and run away. Why are private sector getting preferred these days? Because people are like, सर्विसेज होनी चाहिए, घर बैठे हुए सब मिल जाए. We sit at home and everything will be provided on our fingers. Everything is on our fingertips. We don't have to go and stand in the queues. So the private sector banks are trying their best to go give as much as services as there are possible, so that people take their credit cards, their debit cards, and their services sector, their percentile gets increased. For example, there is a bank HSBC. Okay, this bank is giving so much incentives on buying things from this online platforms. A lot of benefits, मतलब कहीं पे भी कोई परसेंटेज नहीं मिल रहा होगा ना, कहीं पे कोई आपको डिस्काउंट नहीं मिल रहा होगा, HSBC पे मिल रहा होगा. You will have HSBC discount at every platform. This is what HSBC is doing. They are luring people to come and open their account. And this is how people do prefer that we'll be getting a discount here. If people are using every online platform, right? Everybody is using Blinkit. Everybody is using Swiggy, Instamart, Zomato, Intra, Amazon, Flipkart, etc., etc. Now everybody wants that they get discount, because we are sitting home. We can tap things and we can make things happen. And for that, private banks are making sure that they lure people by giving percentiles of discount. They tie up with the banks, they tie up with the companies, and they give discount. Safe custody service and agency function. This is also a thing that banks do. Investment in government securities, credit consultancy, remittance facility, etc. These are the things that banks can do. These are things that banks do. But in section 7, we have already talked about that banks do not deal in, banks do not interfere, banks do not get involved in what? So in section 8, there is a prohibition that banks do not deal in tradings. Banks do not deal in trading activities. No trade. Section 8 says no trading activity by bank is allowed. Okay, moving forward. So this is an example of bill discounting. I already have explained discounting of bill thrice in these sessions. I'm not going to explain this. You can give it a read whenever you want, whenever you get the PDF. Okay. Now, I hope you know how bank acts as a giving letter of credit and deferred payment guarantee. See, this is not a part of your syllabus, but you know that BRBL does not come just exactly from your books. They do ask different things at different times. Okay, कुछ भी randomly they ask. So I hope you know a little bit of things. Obviously, you are working in banks, so you know a lot of things around it. If you want to ask anything or anyhow, you have my WhatsApp number. You can text me there. Now, restrictions on businesses. A 5-star slide again. Only licensing bank can do this. We have already talked about 7 and 8, right? A banking company cannot deal in direct or indirect dealing of buying, selling, and bartering of goods. The prohibition applies on engaging in trading activities as a business. We do not allow trading. Exception. Such trading is allowed if it is necessary for realization of security given to or held by bank. Who can tell me an example for this? Can you give me an example for this? Can you give me an example for this? General rule is we do not allow trade. We don't sell and buy goods. What if bank gave loan on a stock of a company? Bank gave loan on stock of the company and the company is now dissolving, or the company has gone into insolvency and bank has a right over those specific stock only. Bank wants its money. अब वो stock तो ले आएगी. They'll keep the stock. Can they keep the stock for infinity time? No. They have to sell that stock out to realize their money, right? So for realizing of the security money, they can sell the goods. Suppose ये company है. This is the company. This company, there's a company which sells this Stanley Cups. Okay? There's a company that sells Stanley Cups. General rule is bank do not sell and buy things. Stanley Cups अब बैंक के पास आ गया बहुत सारे. They have thousands of Stanley Cups. Up they'll not give it to their customers or their kids. They cannot give it to their friends. They need to get the money back from the market, right? What they'll do, they'll sell it out, maybe to a wholesaler, a manufacturer, or they'll put a sale up, whatever. Okay. In that situation, selling is allowed. Okay. Trading is allowed for realization of assets. Key point. Banks are financial institutions, not trading company. They deal in money. They are not trading. Their business is to accept deposit, lend money, not trade. Section 8 ensures bank focus on banking activities and avoid commercial trading. Banks cannot hold immovable property except for own use beyond 7 years. That is, bank cannot buy a property in their own name. This is not allowed. Beyond 7 years, this is not allowed. But an extension of 5 years can be given with the approval of RBI. Are these sections clear to everybody? Please give me a yes. If there is any doubt, please let me know. If there is any doubt, please let me know. I hope things are pretty much clear. Okay. Licensing of banks. Again, a very important section. Licensing of banks. That if you do not have license from RBI, you cannot deal in banking activities. And RBI can cancel, grant, or suspend your license at any time on the basis of financial health, that you do not have money to give to your debtors, there is a management issue, or it is in the interest of public, or you are not, or if you are not listening to the guidelines of following guidelines of RBI. Perfect. Next, regulatory roles, RBI and government. The Reserve Bank as a regulator. The RBI is the primary regulator and supervisor. Its powers include issuing license, appointing removal of bank personnel, auditing, and initiating winding up proceedings. That is, if the bank wants to start, it takes permission from the RBI. If a bank wants to dissolve, it takes help of in winding up proceedings with the RBI. If bank wants loan, they take help of the RBI. If bank wants appointment of personnel at the higher level, they take help of the RBI. Okay. Government as a regulator. The central government holds entire capital of RBI. Government is the head of RBI. Government is the regulator of RBI. Can government ask RBI to do anything? No, because RBI gets its power from where? From RBI. From RBI Act. Appoint and remove. The government can appoint and remove RBI governor and central board. Here appeals against RBI decision regarding personnel removal and license cancellation. Sorry. Notify which other businesses bank may engage. Exercise substantial control over banking companies where it holds 50% or more shares. देखो कहीं पे government has 51%, some places bank has 50%, but in public sector bank has minimum 50%. There are places like public companies में government has 51%, but public sector bank में government has 50%. So these percentiles again play an important role. Dual control. Cooperative banks are subject to dual control by state government. Control over cooperative banks. See, BR Act में the cooperative bank provision got added recently by 2020 amendment. Okay. Now, what is the cooperative bank having? The cooperative bank have dual role of state and RBI. State owns the cooperative banks and the RBI also. State in formation and management, RBI in licensing and banking operations. RBI helps every sort of bank in India. RBI helps every sorts of financial institutions who are dealing in money with India, with money in India. Section 2020 Amendment. The BR Act gave the RBI more power to restructure cooperative banks and allow them to raise capital through public-private issue. 2020 Amendment say, BR Act said that RBI, if wants, they can give power to cooperative banks to issue their IPOs. Winding up. RBI has power to order the winding up of cooperative banks registered with DICGC. That is Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. From this, what we have learned is cooperative bank need to get registered with DICGC. And this is the full form of it. Again, a little important. Anybody having any doubt? Anybody having any doubt in module unit 1? Let's start with the MCQs then. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the chat section. Otherwise, we'll be moving towards the MCQs. Okay. Question number 1 is on the screen. ABC FinTech Private Limited is planning to launch a new financial venture. Okay. Please read the question and give me the answer. Read the question and give me the answer. Very good. B is the correct answer. Very good, Shruti ji, Sharad ji. Statement number 1, 3, and 5 are correct. 2 and 4 are not. ABC FinTech can issue checkbook to depositor without RBI approval. Without RBI approval, you cannot do anything. Checkbooks are allowed. Only like check withdrawals are allowed if you have authority under section 49A. Section number 49A allows you to issue checkbooks. Then statement number 4 is also incorrect because non-banking companies like ABC is permitted to deal in real estate. No, they are not. No banking companies, no NBFC, no financial institution can deal in real estate, agriculture, or trading activities. Okay, so B is the correct answer. Very good. Next question. Next question is on the screen. Yes. Very good. Very, very good. A is the correct answer. I've made the big changes. 7 years, 7 plus 5 years, no agriculture goods, no bartering of goods, and yes, they can give guarantees. Next. Which of the following statements are correct? Which of the following statements are correct? Statement number 1 is incorrect. Why? Because RRBs are governed by RRB Act, RBI Act, and VR Act. You cannot go away from VR Act. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3 is correct. Statement number 4 is correct. But statement number 5 is also incorrect. Why? Because cooperative banks in India are governed by same central cooperative banks, irrespective of state. There is central, state, and multi cooperative banks. Cooperative societies act. Okay, there is not just single one act, there are 3 acts. So statement number 1 and 3 are incorrect. That will give us C as the correct answer. Question number 4. Statement number 1 is correct, right? Statement number 1 is correct. Why? Because 7 associate banks of SBI did merge with SBI by 2017 and 2018 financial year. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is incorrect because BR Act was enacted to enhance SEBI regulatory in oversight. SEBI is not the regulator, it is RBI who is the regulator. So statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 3 is correct, 4 is correct, but 5 is also not correct because all public bank and private banks are constituted under Companies Act. No, there are statutory provisions. Statement number 5 is incorrect. That will give us D as the correct answer. Next question. Next question. Last question from this area. Question number 1. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Why? Because the RBI Act provides the legal framework of regulating the capital market. Capital market and stock market को regulate करता है SEBI. It is SEBI, not RBI. It is SEBI, not RBI. Section number 18 allows RBI to direct discount of bill. RBI does not deal in money matter. Second number statement is also incorrect. The governor of RBI is elected by shareholder. No, it is appointed by the central government. Third statement is also incorrect. 4 and 5 are correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. Very good, Chitakonda ji, Shruti ji and Shara ji. Very, very good. Chale. Okay. There are a lot of questions here, but you will be attempting those questions yourself. See question number 10. Question number 10. Statement number 1 is incorrect. State cooperative banks are exclusive regulators of cooperative societies. No, we have 3 acts. And there is RBI and VR Act as well. Statement number 2 is correct, 3 is correct, 4 is also incorrect because RBI has no role in licensing cooperative banks. Then how will RBI cooperative banks start doing money? Start dealing with things. Okay? Statement number 4 is also incorrect. How will RBI cooperative banks get license? From where will they get license? No? So 1 and 4 are correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. Now we have unit 2. Anybody wants to ask me anything? Do you want to ask anything? Now, control over organization of bank. In this also, we are going to talk about RBI Act and the BR Act. Okay? Regulatory framework. Indian banks is governed by RBI Act and BR Act. We know how RBI Act works. They are the head bank and BR Act gives power to RBI and regulates all the banks in India. Licensing के लिए this is important. See, licensing topic section 22 of BR Act is super important. Super important. ऐसे ही section 6 to 9 of BR Act. Okay, section 35, section 35A, section 36. These are important sections of BR Act which you have to learn. You ratify karo, whatever you do, it is your choice, but they should be on your tips. Because if you are thinking कि section से questions नहीं आएंगे, section से questions आएंगे. There will be questions from sections only. Any company intending to conduct banking business in India must obtain a mandatory license from RBI before commencing operation. If you do not have license from RBI, you cannot deal in money, whatever the situation may be. Okay, you cannot be a banking company, banking regulator. Suppose I'm a money lender. Okay, my side work is that I earn money from places. Okay, I have jobs and I earn money. Let's take an example that I earn money. Let's say 1 crore rupees a year. Okay, abhi these 1 crore rupees that I earn every year, I use 50 lakhs for myself and give the remaining 50 lakhs on credit to people. Now I'm earning 2%. Bank is giving 7% interest. NBFC is giving 12% interest, but I am just giving 2% of interest. Giving it on 2% interest. Is that okay? Do I need RBI's permission? No, because I am the money lender. I'm not an entity that is dealing in money with the permissions of the government, and I'm not recognized as a company, banking company, or a bank. I am a money lender. There is a difference between money lender, bank, banking company. Okay? Suppose now, suppose I make myself as an NBFC. Can I do that? Yeah, but I have to take license from RBI. So if you want to get a recognition as a money giver from the government as a work that you do, take license from RBI. Otherwise, become a money lender. There can be no company. Chalo, let's see. Suppose I am working in bank. Okay. Shruti ji, Sharad ji, Chitakonda ji, and I are working in same bank. We are like, so रोज सुबह बैंक जाते हैं. We go to bank every day in the morning and we come back from the bank and we are not happy with the works that they are giving us. पूरा दिन customer दिमाग खराब करता है. Every day the customer comes and needs our brains. They yell at us. They do this, they do that, etc. etc. Okay. They think, so let's make our own NBFCs. Let's have a co-lending model with bank and let's make an NBFC. Since they are the people of bank, are you able to hear me? I just got a message from my screen that I've got froze. There, I wasn't in the session. Are you able to hear me? Hello. Hello. On YouTube, I can see the things. What are you not able to see? See, are you able to see my screen? Okay, perfect. Chale. So I was giving an example here. Yeah, so Sharad ji, Chitakonda ji, Shruti ji, and I are working in the bank. We are not happy with the work. We think, chalo, let's start giving money to people. Let's make our own NBFC. Let's get a recognition. Let's get enrolled under MSME Act and we'll give money. We can charge people interest. Can we get ourselves registered under MSME? I'm telling you MSME. Money lenders ke naam se we get registered as MSME. Can we do that? Can we do that? Hello. See, if you want to get a recognition, no, Durgesh, we cannot. Okay? We cannot. If you want to get a recognition as a money lender or as a money giver, as where you want to work in deal in money, you have to take the license from RBI. You do not get registration under MSME. You do not get registration under MSME. Money dealers only take permission from RBI and license from RBI. Money dealers, okay? Now, can I be a money lender in general without getting registered anywhere, without getting any provisions from anywhere? Can I do that? Can I get co-lending provisions from bank? See, co-lending nahi hoga because again, I'm not an NBFC. I do not have recognition from RBI. But can I be a money lender in general? Yes, I can be a money lender in general. Money lenders do not need permission from RBI. But I have to show that as a business that I am a money lender. And I'll give taxes according to that. RBI discretionary power. The RBI may approve or reject application based on their satisfaction with the company's suitability, which often determines through a suitable inspection of its book. NBFCB randomly you do not make. You have to show that you have an experience in the money matters. Okay. So RBI does not give you license because I have applied for. RBI will check my books of accounts whether I am capable enough of dealing in money, whether people will be believing me enough to give their money, whether whether I am capable enough of returning the money if the time comes. Key consideration. For licensing, the RBI evaluates the company's capital structure, its ability to pay current and future depositors in full, and whether its management is in public interest. That is, will we be able to give the money back? Okay? Whether I'm working in a favor of public or not. These are the things that the RBI will keep in mind. Foreign banks. Foreign bank कौन होता है? The banks which are established outside India, but they have an office in India. When licensing a foreign bank, अब देखो suppose let's call A. ठीक है? A is a bank that is registered in USA. USA government has given them an authority to be a bank. If A wants to come to India, can A come to India? Yes, A can. But again with the permission of RBI. If you are a foreign bank also, चाहे आपको USA में recognition है, even though you have recognition in US as a bank, you have to take license to deal in money to come to India. Okay? The RBI considers its home country provides adequate service supervision alliance is with Basel standards. That what will RBI put in mind is whether A is as working as per Basel standards, whether USA is a good friend of ours, whether if we go to USA, if suppose SBI wants to open a branch in USA, will USA allow that? We'll see how our relationship with the other country is. Whether the home country, that is USA, discriminates against Indian banks. Does USA discriminate against us? Will you allow a Pakistan's bank to come in India? No, because we do not have good political relationships with them. Neither they will allow us nor we will allow them. Okay? So the political economical relations are also seen. On tap licensing. Adopted in 2016, this is continuous licensing system that allows qualified entities to apply at any time. What used to happen was, see, this came in 2016. Earlier, what used to happen was, if you want to be a bank, you have to take, this is a rule that you have to take permission from RBI. But RBI used to open the application taking of bank. Like if I want to be a bank or NBFC or a financial institution in any sort of way, I have to apply for license. And there was a window. In this window only, RBI will allow me to put applications. Okay? Let's assume the application window is from 1st of January till 30th of January. Okay? This is the application window that RBI allows. Suppose again Sharaji, Chittagonda ji and I, we want to open an NBFC. Now we have made a plan in May. We want to become an NBFC. Do we have to wait for next year, January, to put the application to become NBFC? Before 2016, yes. We people have had to wait for the window of RBI to open to put our application to become a banking entity. But from 2016, there is no such thing as put window. You can apply to become a bank or financial entity or a regulated entity at any time you want to. There is no window. आप कभी भी जा सकते हो बैंक RBI के पास. You can put in your application to become an NBFC bank, banking company, whatever you want to. Okay? Universal bank. Promoters must fit and proper criteria and have a 10-year track record in financial service. Foreign deposit investment is capped at 74%. See, this specific line is important. Universal bank के लिए fit and proper criteria, FDI at 74%, and the people who are the promoters of the universal bank should have at least 10 years in financial service, 20 years record that they have been working in money market for last 10 years at least. Small finance banks must be registered as public limited company where under the Companies Act 2013 or 1956 if older, have a minimum capital of 200 crore and promoters must contribute a 40% of paid up capital equity. Again, very important. So small finance bank ke liye 200 crore is the minimum capital, and paid up capital that is out of these 200 crores, 40% is to be contributed by the promoters. That is, you can take 60% from outside the country, from outside the from the general public, but 40% is of the promoters themselves. Cancellation and appeal. Suppose RBI cancels your license. RBI thinks that you are not following their guidelines, or RBI thinks that you are working against the interest of the public. Here, RBI has the right to cancel. RBI has the right to suspend the license. Where can I go to get this cancellation and suspension removed? I can go to central government. जिस दिन से मेरा license लिया, the day my license got cancelled or suspended, I can go to central government within 30 days and appeal and tell them ki why they should not cancel my license, and whatever the central government says, that decision will be final in nature. Branch licensing. Prior permission. Banks must generally obtain RBI's permission to open a new branch. That is, if bank wants to open a new branch, they have to take permission from where? From RBI. If they want to shift an existing branch from within once outside their current city, town or village, they have to take permission from RBI. Chalo, let's understand the topic. Okay? This is a city. ठीक है, एक स्मॉल सिटी है यार, स्मॉल सिटी है ये. यहाँ पे SBI की ब्रांच है. देयर इज SBI ब्रांच है. ये दिस इज सिटी A. दिस इज सिटी A. So section it is saying that if from city A SBI wants to open, this is city B suppose, ठीक है, city B, SBI wants to shift or open new branch, SBI has to take permission from RBI. Okay, this is what the first line is saying. Now, if SBI, okay, this is if SBI wants to shift from this to this area, shift. Okay, closing this branch and shifting to here. Can SBI do so? Can SBI do so? Yes. Yes, they can. But again, even if they are shifting in the current city, or they want to open a new branch in the current city. Okay, this is branch 1. This is branch 2 new. Okay, branch 2 new है. For both of the situation, new branch and for shifting in the same city as well, you have to take permission from the RBI. Temporary branch exception. Prior permission is not required to open a temporary branch for less than 30 days in a town where banks already have existing branch. For example, exhibition or festival. So where I live, there is SBI main branch. ठीक है, मेरे घर के पास wherever near my home there is an SBI main branch. अब उस एरिया के एकदम बाहर, outside that branch, just outside that branch, the Ram Leela gets conducted. Every year, Ram Leela for 10-14 days gets conducted. People get so irritated. देखो this, let's take an example. ठीक है, ये रहा SBI का branch. SBI है ये. यहाँ पे ब्रांच है SBI की. A lane is coming from here, a lane is coming from here, and it is going here. Okay, ये lane. These are the lanes. Here, the Ramlila gets conducted, and people sit here. People sit here. Okay, this is the parking area of SBI. People sit here. So a proper tent is set up here, and a proper pole is set up here. That people cannot go from here to here. They cannot go from here to here. They cannot go from here to here. मतलब इस area में you cannot come basically. Now, people are, but there is a lane here also. Okay, you can use this lane to go to SBI. But you have to go through a lot of struggles. You have to go to through a lot of traffic. Now, can SBI shift temporarily for these 15 days to this place? Can SBI shift? Yes, SBI can. And do they need to take permission from RBI? No, they do not. If you are temporarily shifting from your branch from one place to another, for whatever the reason, maybe it can be festival, it can be exhibition, it can be, suppose this place got on fire. Okay, yeah, there is a renovation need. There is no water area. There is some AC conditioning service need. And there is a need of area to be closed for 15 days. Now, can they shift here for 15 days? Yes. Temporary shift is allowed and you do not need to take permission from RBI. Is it clear? Are things clear to you? Capital and reserves. Again, a 5-star slide. Banking companies must maintain a minimum capital and reserves as per BR Act. Minimum requirement for Indian banks. Scheduled banks must have a minimum aggregate value of paid up capital and reserves of 5 lakh. Reserves of 5 lakh. Regional requirement. Minimum requirement vary based on location. For example, a bank operating in one state, excluding metro city, is capped at 5 lakh, but expanding into metro cities like Mumbai and Kolkata increases the requirement to 10 lakh. Minimum requirement for foreign banks is non-metro area it is 15 lakh and metro area it is 20 lakh for foreign banks. Learn करेंगे हमें. You have to learn. Reserve funds. This is given under section 17 that we go for 20%. I've already told you this. Dividend declaration restriction. Dividend can only be paid after all capitalized expenses. Whatever expenses of the company are paid off. They are written off and only then the dividend can be given. Share commission. Brokerage or commission on the sale of shares is restricted to maximum of 2.5% of the paid up value. That is, suppose a share was of 100 rupees, 2.5% can be only given. That is, 2.5 rupees can only be given on one share as a brokerage or commission. Maximum 2.5. Okay. Management and control. Board composition. The board must include individuals with specialized knowledge like banking, law, economics, accountancy. Tenure is director can serve for maximum of 8 continuous years. Director for how many years? 8. Usual rule is director can serve for 5 years. But for banking, it is 8 years. Every bank must have a full-time chairman. We have already talked about this with specified qualification. RBI intervention, if the board is not working properly, the RBI can reconstitute it. RBI will set fit and proper criteria for corporate governance. Prudential control. Prudential control क्या है? The RBR Act grants the RBI powers to ensure the safety and stability of the banking system. SLR, maintained on liquid assets given under section 25. CR, cash reserve under section 18. Loan restrictions, that is, directors cannot be given loan, directors' families cannot be given loan. Under section 20 and 21. Audit and inspection by RBI 29 and 35. And RBI will work in the public interest. This is given under section 35A. These are the sections. This is the chart. You have to go through this. You have to learn this. Learn this chart. Okay. You have to learn this chart. Now, these are the limits. Universal banks, small banks, the amount of limits allowed. Again, the chart. Again, learn. Now, okay. MCQs. Okay. Question number 1 is on the screen. Question number 1 is on the screen. Very good, Nagaji and Shrutiji. C is the correct answer. Okay, there is no marking. 1, 2, A, B, Statement number 1 is incorrect. Why? Because it is not Ministry of Finance. It is RBI. RBI. That is why C is correct. Third is statement number 3 is court cannot interfere. Court does not interfere. Next, question number 2. Question number 2. Answer is A. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 1 and 3 are incorrect. RBI requires foreign banks to follow BRR provisions exactly as Indian banks do. No. Foreign banks के लिए there are different provisions made. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 3 is also incorrect because home regulator approval is mandatory. If suppose USA do not allow that A bank to come to India, can A bank come to India? Will RBI allow that? No, because we have to see that whether the country that the bank is coming from is our rival, have good political environment with us, relationship with us, economical relationship with us, and whether that bank is allowing that bank, specific bank, whether that bank country is allow that bank to coming to India. Okay, so 3 is also wrong. A is the correct answer. Next, question number 3. So tomorrow morning we have a session where we'll be discussing about the timelines, the cases and the sections. Next, on Saturday, after your paper gets completed, Saturday wala paper, after you give that paper, you have to join a marathon session. Our marathon will start from 7. We'll complete it in next 3-4 hours, where I'll give you a gist of every topic. Okay, a minute gist in this topic. This is the point you have to focus on, and we'll do a lot of MCQs so that it is easier for you to attempt the questions in the exams. 7 a.m. Nagaji, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. tomorrow, 7 p.m. day after. D is the correct answer. Statement number 1, except statement number 1, everything is correct. There is no such requirement. Company should have at least 1 branch office. No, there is no such requirement. Okay. Is there a requirement that SBI should have a branch office in any other country? No. What is saying company? What banking companies they are talking about? Okay. Question number 4. Question number 4. Beyond exceeding 74% is not allowed. Beyond 74% is not allowed. Wherever 2 is mentioned, let's eliminate that and we'll get D as the correct answer. But let's see why statement number 5 is incorrect. Because see, The promoter group seeks exemptions from prudential norm. Nobody gets exemption from prudential norm. You have to follow the prudential norms at any situation it may be. D is the correct answer. Last question from this area. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 1 is correct. This has been changed to 200 crore. So statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 3 is correct. Statement number 4 is 40% contribution by promoter is mandatory. So statement number 4 is incorrect. Statement number 5 is correct. That will give us A as the correct answer. Okay, you attempt these questions yourself. So let's see this question. D is the correct answer here. Why? Because statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is not correct. The limit is 10 years. They have served for how many years? They are saying to director for 10 years. 8 years se zyada you cannot be a director of a banking company. Statement number 2 is incorrect. 3 is correct. 4 is incorrect. Why? Because the bank claims about board decision being valid despite composition defect. No, it cannot be. Statement number 4 is incorrect. D is the correct answer. Now, unit 3. Unit 3. Anybody? If you want to ask anything, please let me know in the chat section. Now, unit 3, again about RBI Act, basic RBI Act again, RBI and BR Act we are going to talk about. RBI is regulatory authority and power to issue directions. The RBI is the lead authority. We have talked about this multiple times. कि RBI जो करता है, it can do. RBI can do whatever they want to. RBI will do whatever is in the favor of the country. It is whatever is in the favor of the public, whatever is in the favor of the growth of the country. Whatever RBI passes decision, it should be in the favor of public and it should be mandatorily followed by the government, the banks. The general powers of RBI is that they can check the books of banks at any time. They can hire the managers or the people who are regulating the banks, the directors at any time if they think if there is a need. So whatever they are doing is they are doing in the favor of public. Okay. Additional powers are given under section 36. Beyond formal statutory directions, RBI can give. Suppose RBI can put additional restrictions over you. Suppose for everybody, RBI has passed A, B, and C as guideline. Okay. There is a bank. These are the guidelines A, B, C. Okay. Suppose there is a bank. There is a bank L. Okay, there is a bank L. They are not doing good financially. There are complaints from the customers that they are misplacing the money, etc., etc. Okay, they are not working in the favor of the public. Rather, they are working in the favor of earning more profits. RBI says to them that you have to follow guidelines A, B, C, but D and E as well. Will it be a mandate for L to follow that? Yes, because special restrictions and guidelines can be imposed on banks where RBI deems fit. Legal standing is statutory directions issued by RBI are prospective unless retrospective. That is, जो direction जब से आया, the direction that came, suppose it came today. Suppose RBI said that every customer of the bank have to give their KYC again. Even if you have given it earlier, you have to give the KYC again. You have to fulfill your KYC norms again, KYC details again by 31st of July. Every customer, they have to. You have 1 month's time कि एक महीने के अंदर दोबारा KYC कराओ. Can RBI do that? Yes. With these guidelines, whatever the RBI has passed, they will be prospective in nature. They will not be retrospective in nature. That is जो आज से लगा है, जो आज आया है. The guideline came today, will be applicable from today onwards. It will not have past effect. Future past का effect नहीं होगा. It will be applicable in the future, not the past. Regulations of banking operation. They accept deposit, right? Under Section 21, the RBI regulates how banks accept deposit. Abhi, can you accept any amount? Can you accept any amount? No. Banks, RBI hadn't put restrictions. Ki above 50,000, you have to put in PAN. You cannot put more than 10 lakh rupees in a month without getting noticed. So you have to tell ki why are you dealing with such money. If you are getting a check of foreign currency of 24,500, more than 25,000, you have to declare that. These are the rules. RBI rules, the government rules that we have to follow. And you cannot go against that. You cannot find a loophole in that. Only banking companies, the SBI, the RBI, or other notified institutions are permitted to accept deposit with withdrawal by check. This is given under Section 49A. Interest rate regulation. RBI determines policies for interest rate on both loans and deposit. This was the earlier rule. Ki policies ke liye they tell ki what are the policies that we have to put in mind, but they do not tell us ki these are the interests that you have to put. RBI cannot make a standard timeline ki every bank will give loan at 7% only. Yeah, every bank will have to give loan between 7 to 9% only. It is the choice of the bank. Legal protection is a critical provision ensures that the interest rate agreed upon between bank and customer cannot be questioned in law on any grounds being excessive. You cannot go to court. Non-discrimination. Any discrimination between different classes of borrowers or depositor must be justified by law and not for just operational convenience. Everybody knows that senior citizens ko we give special rate of interest, right? We know that. You are working in bank, you know that. Can you do that? Yes, because there are specific class and for their betterment. See, everybody knows keep jo senior citizens and they are spending medicines. They have a lot of expense of medicines, etc. So they are given special treatments. Okay? Like even staff of the bank helps them out to fill out the forms, etc. Can there be special provisions for specific class? Yes, there can be. But they can be just because for the benefit. They should be beneficial for the people. Not because you want to. मेरे को अच्छा लग रहा था. There is nothing like that. Because I want to, because it is convenient for me, is nothing. Is not allowed. Okay? Now, regulations of loans and advances. Credit control, credit activity control. RBI exercises strict control to prevent risky lending and ensure capital flow to prioritize sectors. So we know there is a priority sector lending. ठीक है, TSL है हमारा. We know how to prioritize. There is a 40% of ANBC that you have to give to the priority sector. ठीक है, so किसने determine करा? Who determined that there is a 40% that should be given to the ANBC of ANBC to the priority sector? It is RBI. They control our methods. If the RBI thinks that bank should not give more than 10% of their bank's capital to a specific industry, bank will not. RBI can restrict the lending precision. See, for example, let's take एक industry है. There is an industry which is right now at boom. ठीक है, they are increasing very fastly. जैसे अभी recently the industry like this. क्या था वो? Induction. ठीक है, induction cookware. That was increasing. Okay? Though that was increasing, people were asking, there were a lot of people who started making cheaper inductions. Now, can you give loan to that? Yes, because they can get enrolled in MSME, they can. Suppose there is an area जहाँ पे those people take high risk. Can RBI say कि इनको इतने ज़्यादा पैसे मत देना? Do not give your money more than 10% of your money to infrastructure area. Why? Because money in the infrastructure usually gets stuck. Because people who are working in infrastructure, they usually do some sort of fault. Can RBI put a restriction here? Yes, they can. Can RBI prioritize a section like agriculture? Yes. Like 18% of the NBC will go to agriculture sector. Right? Section 21. The RBI can regulate the purpose of loans, required margins for the secured loans, and the terms of conditions and advances. So RBI can regulate the purpose of loans. कि किस लिए लोन दिया जा रहा है, they can put that in mind. Prohibitions. Bank cannot grant loans secured by their own shares. Bank cannot grant जो आपके shares खरीदा. See, suppose I am a person. Okay, there is a banking company who has issued the shares in the market. There is a banking company who has issued their IPO in the market, shares in the market. I have bought those shares. Now I want loan. Okay, SBI है. Just an example, SBI है. They have issued their shares. Okay, I have bought the shares of SBI. Can I go to SBI itself and say कि आप अपने shares ले लो as security and you take your shares as security and give me loan against it. We can give our shares as security and take a loan against it, right? We can pledge our shares, but we cannot pledge the shares of the same bank to the same bank. I cannot pledge the shares of SBI to SBI itself to take a loan. So this is a prohibition. This is given under Section 20 of RBI Act. Section 21 of RBI Act. Banks are prohibited from granting loans and advances to the director. We already know that. Exemption. Loans can extend to NPOs. This is given under Section 8 companies. Even if directors is on board and substantial interests do not typically apply here. 3. General rule is key, we do not give loans to our own directors. But if the director is a director of some other NPO, that is non-profit organization, that if you are a director or a member of an NPO, can that NPO take loan from the bank? Yes, because यहाँ पे NPO is not working for money. Non-profit organizations are working for the benefit of the society. And NPO directors, if suppose I am the director of SBI and I am working with, there is an organization MILAP, okay, that is working for the benefit of animals. I'm a director, I'm a person interested there, I'm a person who invests there. Okay, can I MILAP take loan from my SBI? Yes. Why? Because MILAP is not working to earn money. MILAP is earning money, getting money for the betterment of the society. So this is an exemption. Debt remission. Banks cannot remit debts to directors or related entities without explicit RBI permission. Statutory reserves and liquidity requirements. 20% reserve funds में CRR of scheduled bank is given under section 42. Of non-scheduled bank it is given under section 18. 42 of RBI Act, 18 of BR Act. Penalties is if you do not follow the CRR, you have to give 3% above the bank rate and 5% if you do not listen for subsequent weeks. SLR is given under section 24 of the BR Act. Banks must maintain a percentage of liabilities of liquid assets such as gold, cash, and unencumbered approved securities. As in India, banks must maintain at least 75% of the demand of and time liability as set in India at the close date of last Friday of every quarter. This specific line is important because MCQ do come from there. SCC, Selective Credit Control. SCC is a tool used to regulate the distribution of resources of specific sector. That is, we focus on areas where there is a hoarding. ठीक है, जहाँ पे देखो अभी, as I've just told you that there was a need of induction. Everybody was scared that there will be no LPG cylinders available, and the places where there are just LPG cylinders, they were scared that let's take induction. Okay, I know people who have taken 5 induction for one home only because they have a large family, big family. Now, can I suppose I am a person who retails? Okay, मैंने market से सारा I went to every company and I took a lot of inductions from them so that I can speculate the price. That is, right now the inductions are getting sold at 2000 rupees per induction. But if there is no induction in market and there is need of induction in market, what will happen? People will pay whatever I am asking. if I hoard मतलब बहुत सारा एक साथ रख लिया. Hoarding means keeping a lot of goods so that when the demand increases and the supply decreases, I can ask whatever money I want to. ठीक है. So if somebody is taking credit for hoarding purpose, suppose I'm a credit person, so there is a brand A, B, C. तीन ही brand है जो बनाते हैं induction. Example ले रहे हैं. There are 3 brands only that make induction. ठीक है. I have gone to every single brand in my city. I know my city is small. ठीक है. I have gone to every single brand and I've taken hundreds and hundreds, like thousand induction from every place. Now all the people in my city cannot have induction because these brands are not able to supply more than 1,000 inductions to a particular cities. Now I am charging whatever I want to from the customer because I have hoarded all the goods. Because I can, because मेरे पास ही सारा सामान है. I have the whatever I want to, I can do that. Now since I wanted large capital to buy thousands and 3,000 induction for myself to hoard and not sell in the market, I need money. Can I take loan for such activity? No. Hoarding के लिए you cannot take loan. That is, you cannot change the dynamics of the society by taking loan. These includes setting minimum margin for borrowers, establishing credit ceilings for specific sectors, and charging minimum interest rate on advances. Scheduled banks. A bank included in second schedule of the RBI Act must have paid up capital of at least 5 lakhs, must satisfy RBI in its affair and not detrimental to depositor, must be a company, state cooperative, or a notified institution. DEF. This is important. DEF. Who will tell me what is DEF? What is a DEF? Who will tell me what is DEF? I'm waiting for your reply. What is a DEF? See, if I have not used my account for 10 years continuously, no transactions at my end, no putting in money, no taking out of money, and I have not used my account for continuous 10 years, bank will wait for 3 more months. Okay? 3 more months के लिए bank will wait for me to come and claim that money, and after that bank will shift my account money. The bank will freeze my account and shift my account money to DEF funds. Okay, depositor education and awareness fund. Here what I can do is I can this is not the profit of bank. This is the money of the customer who has either forgotten or due to some reason he has not done any transaction in the bank. Now this money can be asked back by the customer at any point of time. And the percentage interest that we give on DEF is 3% per annum. That is, DEF amount pay 3% per annum interest can be given. Can the money that is standing in traveler check and instruments which do not have maturity go into DEF? No, they cannot, because this is the money which is already outstanding in nature. This DEF amount will be given back to the customer. It can be even after 20-30 years, but the customer has to show genuineness. Suppose I open an account today and I have a child of 5 years. Example, this is just an example. I have opened an account today and I die. I forgot I have an account and I die. Tomorrow I die. I have 5 lakh rupees in my account. My child is a small person, take a small baby. He grows old. At the age of 20, he finds out a passbook of mine where there are 5 lakh rupees which were submitted in 2025-26. Now, when he reaches to the age of 20, that is after 15 years, he goes to the bank and says, these are the circumstances and I want the money. I'm the legal heir of this such person and I want the money. This child needs to show the genuineness why he wasn't aware. He'll give the situation, and if bank is satisfied, bank will have to give the money back. This money is not of the bank. This money is of the customer only. But the customer has to show the genuineness. Suppose I move out of India tomorrow and I come back to India after 10-15 years. I have been sent to jail. उसके बहुत सालों बाद में वापस आ रही. I have to show the genuineness and I will be given my money back, and there will be interest that will be accumulated on that money as well. Right to claim. Okay, this is the right to claim of mine. Now, legal aspects of nomination. See, it is a duty. In every account, there is a person. I have to put somebody's name as a nominee. That if I die or something happens to me, that if I die in that situation, you will be the one, the person I have nominated will be the one as a who will get the money, will be getting the excess of the account. Does this nominee always have to be a legal heir? No, it can be anyone. Suppose I'm a person, I have a best friend. I put the name of my best friend as a nominee. She signs it down as well. Okay. Now after few years I die, can my best friend go and take out the locker, the things that are in my locker, or that the amount that is in my locker? Yes, because she is my nominee, and it is not the duty of the bank to check कि nominee को पैसे देंगे या legal heir को पैसे देंगे. Will the money be given to nominee or the legal heir? But if the legal heir comes, if suppose my parents or my husband goes and shows that they are the legal heirs, can they have the priority over my best friend? Yes, they can. Why? Because they are the legal heirs, and legal heirs are the overriders. Legal heirs का पैसों पे हक होता है, nominees का नहीं. Legal heirs have the right over the things, not the nominees. Legal heirs above nominees, but the nominees, if I have opted out for some nominee, that nominee will get the money if legal heirs do not claim it. Suppose my best friend goes first to the bank. ठीक है, जैसे suppose मेरा एक account है, I have an account. ठीक है, I have an account. ठीक है, in which there is a nominee S. There is a nominee S. There is a person D who is my legal heir. D is my legal heir. S is my nominee. I die. I die. Die on 25th of May 2025. I have died. Okay. Can this nominee go to bank and take the money out of that account? Yes, because this is the person who I have entrusted to take the money. Suppose she goes on 26th. Okay. D goes on 27th. Can D say, paise do, give me the money? Nominee has already taken out the money on 26th. Will bank be obliged to give money to D? No, because D being the legal heir, do have the right. But it was the duty of the bank to go to give the money to the nominee. Suppose 26th को the D went on 26th, and on 27th S went. Okay, on 26th D went and on 27th S went. Can bank give money to the D? Yes, if D shows that he is a legal heir, if he proves that I have a death certificate and everything to the bank will give money to D and not to S. If D has filed a case, can bank give money to D? Yes. If S has filed a case, bank will freeze the money till the case is decided. So it is not the duty of the bank to legally finalize who is the owner. They both will fight among themselves. Who wins? From the court ruling, bank will give the money to that person. Okay. So nominee if comes before, and suppose 26 ko suppose this S goes on 26 and on 27 D goes. 26 ko if bank gives money to this nominee, can this D sue bank on 27th? No. Why? Because bank has done what it was obliged to do. Can this D sue S? Yes, D can. If D wants to, D can, for getting the money back. I hope this has not confused you in any sort of way. Now, Adik. There is a mistake here. Please attempt this question. Attempt the question that is given on the screen. Ma'am, please explain. Okay. Nominee can be anybody. Nominee can be anybody. Legal heir means the people who have the right as per the law to get my property, to get the rights of mine. ठीक है? जैसे as per a law, a female, me, a married female, has the nominee of a married female is the legal heirs of married female is the children of the female and the husband of the female. If there is no children or husband, then the money can go to the parents of the female, the family of the female, and if there is no family of the female, to the family of the husband. This is how the money is getting divided. So ये जो my family, my husband, my kids, if there is a family of mine, they are the legal heirs of mine because they have the right over my property. The moment I die, they will be the one who will be the owner of my property. Okay? Nominee can be anyone I trust. It can be you as a friend of mine. It can be my friends. It can be my family. It can be anybody I trust. Okay? Now, bank, suppose I have an account. There is a person known as S. That person is a best friend of mine. I trust her more than my family. This is the situation that I currently am in. Suppose I am not living in a good environment. I have entrusted my best friend S for whatever the reasons may be. She is my nominee. After my death, can she go and take the money from my account? Yes, she can. Because nominees लेते ही बैंक इसलिए कि if suppose a person dies, bank takes nominees. If that a person dies, if the account holder dies, the nominee can continue with the operations or get the money of the person. Okay? Now suppose S goes to the bank and claims money and says that I am the nominee of the person. Will bank give money to nominee? Yes. Suppose on the same day, my husband, being my legal heir, goes to bank and asks for the money. Will bank choose my husband or my nominee? It is the legal heir who has the right over the property. It is not the nominee. Nominee is the trustee, not the owner. So it is my husband who will get the money. Suppose bank gave money to S and nominee comes later and my husband comes later and asks for money from bank. Bank says, हम तो nominee को दे दिया, we gave the money to the nominee. Can my husband sue the bank? No, because it is not the duty of the bank to find out who the legal heir is and who their duty is. Bank has made sure that the money has gone to some person who I have entrusted. So bank will give the money to the nominee because nominee has come first. Now, can the legal heir, that is my husband, sue the nominee for money? Yes, he can. Why? Because he can show that I am the rightful owner. I should have gotten the money, not the nominee. Is this now clear? So nominee can be anybody. Legal heirs are the people who get the right of my property after my death in any situation. Okay? उनका हक है, right है. Okay, Chitagonda ji. Please somebody reply and give me the reply for the question, please. Hello. Am I audible? Are you able to hear what I'm saying? Question number 1 is on the screen. See, here, statement number 3 is incorrect. The RBI can issue directions to both banks and customer. No, RBI directions are always only to bank, not customers. Statement number 3 is incorrect. Everything except 3 is correct. D is the correct answer. Next question. Bank ma'am account have already nominee in death case. Before claim, nominee is the complete right is right. Yes, in the case of death, nominee has the right, but the legal heir has the legal right. So if the legal heir wants to sue, they can sue the nominee. Chalo, let's take an example here. Okay? Let's take an example here. There will be an example question in this only. There is a lady, Asha Devi. Okay? There is a lady, Asha Devi. She has a bank account in which the nominee is grandson. Grandson is the nominee. She also has a locker. She also has a locker which is either or survivor with daughter-in-law S and granddaughter L. इसे कहेंगे हम B. ठीक है, granddaughter C. She has a bank account where grandson is the nominee. Grandson B is the nominee. She has a locker on the basis of either and survivor with daughter-in-law S, and granddaughter is the nominee. Granddaughter C is the nominee. She dies. She has a son R. Son is the legal heir. Okay? On the death of A, grandson B, being the nominee, goes to bank, empties out the account, takes the cash of 10 lakh and goes away. On the death of A, daughter-in-law S goes to the bank and clears the account because she is the survivor. She is the survivor. She has the right. Okay. Now this son R goes to bank and says, I want the locker and I want the bank money, account money. This son goes to bank and says, ki paise do mere, give me the money. Bank says, what money? We have already given the money to the nominee. What money? Now, can bank be sued here? No, because bank was not acting negligently. Bank had good faith. They gave the money to the nominee. Nominee being the person getting the right as a trustee, he can do so. Can this R sue the son B and sue the wife S? First of all, yes, he can sue the son B because R has, as a legal heir, has a legal right to get the money. The court will decide whether B will get the money or R will get the money, not the bank. It is court who will decide. Bank's duty was to give money to the nominee. Bank, can R sue the daughter-in-law S? No, because the clause is either or survivor. DIL, daughter-in-law, S is the survivor. R cannot sue S. Now, let's change the situation. S didn't take the money. It is C who took the money. C took the money. A dies. C takes the money, not S. C is the nominee, and the nominee comes in the case when there is no party. Either may A has to died, but the survivor DIL, daughter-in-law S, is survivor. Bachi hui hai wo. Here nominee cannot come into picture. If bank give money to C while S is surviving, then it is the negligence of the bank and bank will be liable in this case. Is this now clear to you? Hello, Chitavanna ji, is this now clear? Done. Moving forward, chale. Let's attempt this question then. Does anybody have any doubt in the case of nominee and survivor? Does anybody have any doubt in the case of nominee and survivor? Chalo. Let's attempt this question then. Question number 2. Statement number 1 is correct. Okay. See, ABC has received a regulatory inspection and compliance audit. The auditor raised questions about the following situation and requested bank to justify the decision. Bank accepted a time deposit of senior citizen for 20 years. पहली बात, time deposit is allowed for 7 days to 10 years. Time deposit, FDs, RDs can be for maximum 10 years. If you take money for 20 years, will that be allowed? On a special interest rate above the prescribed. Is this allowed? This is not allowed. This is against the law. This is against the policies. Okay? So this is violation of RBI direction. Okay? This is non-compliant with RBI's direction. It refuses to return customers 3 lakh rupees saving with 90 days after RBI imposes a moratorium. Okay? When RBI imposes the moratorium, maximum amount that can be given is 5 lakhs. Maximum amount that is allowed is 5 lakhs. Customer is asking below 5 lakh rupees. This amount should have been given, but the bank said no. So this is again against the RBI's guidelines. So this is also non-compliance with RBI's guidelines. It credits rupees 8 lakhs from inoperative account to 8, which was not operative from 8 to 11 years, to PNL account. Def money is not the profit of bank. It is of the customer only. So again, it is a non-compliant activity of the bank. On request, it accepts deposit of 60 lakhs in a newly opened fixed deposit account. See, such big amounts are not allowed. If from the customer without completing KYC, if you have not done KYC, you will not accept such big amounts. So this is also non-compliance. Okay. Which of the following actions are in violation? All of the above are in violation. All of the things that bank is doing is in violation. So B is going to be the correct answer here. Do you want me to explain any part here? Why are you guys not replying? कोई doubt है? Do you have any doubt? Anything to ask? It is not my paper. It is yours paper. आपको ही देना है ना paper. You have to give the paper. I am going to explain things out. I am going to say random things and I'll go. It is not my paper. Chale. Next, which of the following statements related to deaf are correct? Attempt this question, please. Very good. A is the correct answer. Statement number 1 is correct. 3 is correct. 4 is correct. 5 is correct. Second is not correct. Why? Because the traveler's checks and the persons with non-maturity cannot be transferred to deaf. This is not allowed. Everything except 2 is correct. A is the correct answer. Now, this is the question. Okay? You will read this question very properly. Mrs. Asha Devi, and you will see that such question is going to come in your exam. These questions, these situation-based questions are going to come. Okay? Maintained of FD of 15 lakhs in nationalized bank with the nomination of grandson Arjun as a nominee under section 45ZA. She also have some jewelry in safe locker deposit jointly with daughter-in-law Meera with the instruction either or survivor and a nominee granddaughter Priya. Upon her passing away, upon her death, the following claims arose. Arjun approaches to bank with death certificate and claim FD amount. Can Arjun do so? Can bank give the money here? Yes, bank can. Meera and Priya both requested access of the locker and removal of content. Since Meera is involved in asking the money, bank will allow Meera to use this because Meera is the survivor. The court case was later filed, बाद में file हुआ, by Asha Devi's son, claiming Arjun and Priya has no right to retain the money or contents, that he is the legal heir and he should inherit. Can Rajesh file the case here? Yes, Rajesh can file case. Rajesh can file case. He has the right to do so. The bank, after verifying the documents, paid deposit to Arjun and allow access of locker. As per the nomination and joint operation, bank did everything right. Bank did nothing wrong. If Meera wouldn't have asked for the money, then it was a mistake of bank. कि उन्होंने प्रिया को कैसे लेने दिया? How did they allow Priya? Meera is involved, so there is nothing wrong done by the bank. Rajesh alleged that bank has wrongfully disbursed the funds and locker content. Rajesh says that it is a mistake of the bank. No, it is not the mistake of the bank. Which of the following statement is legally accurate? The payment of the fixed deposit to Arjun by bank is constituted a full and final legal settlement. Full and final legal settlement सिर्फ और सिर्फ court कर सकती है. Court can do that, not banks. Legal settlements are done by courts, not banks. So this statement is wrong. Bank cannot finally decide the legal nature. Priya's right to remove the content from the locker as nominee is not absolute and may still be contested by the legal heir. Yes, it can be contested by the legal heir. Your right is not absolute. Go to court. If you want to contest, go to court. It is not the duty of the bank. The bank is considered to have discharged the obligation validly under the BR Act by making payment to Arjun and allowing locker access to Priya and Meera. Yes, bank has done whatever they were supposed to do. They followed the law. They followed the guidelines. Bank is not wrong. Even though nomination was made, legal heirs like Rajesh can claim the right. Yes, they can. They can make the they can file the case in the court. Banks must ensure that there are no court orders restraining the act. Yes, bank will give the money to Arjun and Priya only and only if they show that there is no course. Bank will never decide the absolute owner corner. It is the court who will decide the absolute ownership, not the bank. Bank will follow what they have been shown and what they have been proved. Okay. Now, what is the correct answer here? B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer because everything except B is correct. 1 is correct. Next question. Very good, Durgeshi. Sorry. RBI, being the regulator, can pass any regulations to any bank, any financial institutions. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Everything except 2 is correct. A is the correct answer. Next. Which of the following are prohibited under section 20? क्या prohibition है? What are the prohibitions? 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is correct, 5 is correct, 4 is not correct. Why? The banks provide loans to registered companies under section 25. Section 25 and section 28 are allowed even if director is on the board. Is this prohibited? No, it is not prohibited. Everything except this is prohibited. That will give us D as the correct answer. Individuals को loan नहीं दे सकते. They cannot give loans against their own security. They cannot advance money to their own guarantee director. They cannot advance loan to the company who is having substantial interest. But section 8 company or section 25 company. Section 8 is from 2013 Act and section 25 from 1956. So confused mat hona. Please do not get confused. D is the correct answer. No. Yes. Question number 9. The base rate system replaced BPLR in 2010. Yes, it did. Okay. Yes, it did. See, this is out of the area, portion area, out of the syllabus की कहाँ पे they can put their minds to, तो वहाँ पे. Okay. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Fixed MCLR banks must price all fixed rate loans regardless of tenor using MCLR benchmark. No. See, fixed rate loans above 3 years are exempted from MCLR. Statement number 2 is incorrect. BPLR, BRBRS जो systems है ना, ये सब आपने PPB में पढ़ा होगा. You have studied this in PPB. MCLR system incorporates tenor premium and negative carries due to CRR. Yes, it does. Everything except 2 is correct. That will give us A as the correct answer. Okay. Now we have unit 4. Here we'll be taking a 5 minutes break. We'll be meeting. Right now it is 8:12. We'll be meeting at 8:20. We'll complete 4, 5, 6 and 7 after 8:20. Chale. Till then, have a break. If anybody wants to ask anything, please write that in the chat section. We'll meet at 8:20. Sorry. Let's come back. Let's start. Okay. Returns, inspection, winding up, mergers, and acquisitions. This unit is basically
Let's come back.
This unit is talking about how banks file the returns, if there is a merger or acquisition, if there is a winding up, what all are the things that bank will do while doing such things. Okay. Basically, unit 4 is very brief. So we'll be attempting a few questions here which will help you understand ki how what sort of questions will come from this part. Returns, inspection, and corporate restructuring. Annual accounts and audit. Every bank must prepare an annual balance sheet and profit and loss account. Every business, whatever it may be, chahe wo banking ho, whatever, whether it is a banking business or it is of any sort, okay, it has to prepare its balance sheet so they can know balance sheet. How is balance sheet made? First, they make a trading account. After that, they make a P&L account. From this, they'll understand whether there is a profit or a loss in their year, and then they'll balance it out, compare their assets and liabilities on both the sides, and final tally that the assets and liabilities are calculating, tallying each other same. Okay, both the sides are same. This is called this is balance sheet. Okay, balance sheet में भी tally ki whether our liabilities and assets are equal, and from P&L account we found out that whether a company has earned the profit or loss. So these sheets, these accounts have to be maintained by every sort of business that there are in the format prescribed by the third schedule of the BR Act. So we have talked about the three schedules, all the three schedules in any some sort of way in this specific क्या नाम है यूनिट 1 2 3 4 ठीक है कहीं कहाँ कहीं somewhere there is schedule 1, somewhere there is schedule 2, somewhere there is schedule 3. Right now it is schedule 3 of the BR Act which tells us about the accounts and audits. Accounts must be audited by qualified auditors as per the company law. Who are qualified auditors? They are the CAs. CAs which are made by ICAI, that is Institute of Chartered Accountancy India, are the people who are hired, who are made qualified as per the company's law to do the auditing. Chartered accountants. However, prior RBI approval is required for their appointment, reappointment, and removal. So if I'm a company, okay, it is said that every company should get audited. Internal audit होनी चाहिए. They should have a CA to audit their files. Okay. Now, for appointment of a CA by a banking company, they need to take an approval by the RBI. If suppose, see, every CA is appointed for a tenure. Suppose they're appointed for 4 years. Okay, they're appointed for 4 years. If they want to reappoint it, they reappoint. Suppose, chalo 1 year le lete. Let's take here. There is a CA R. This R is appointed for 1 year. Okay, if that is for 2025 2026, they have been hired. If this R, if you want to hire this R again for 26 27, you have to take permission from RBI again. And if you want to remove such person, you have to take the permission of RBI again. Okay. So for all of the activities related to the accountant, you have to take the permission of RBI for appointment, reappointment, and removal. Foreign banks operating in India report only to their Indian branches, not for their global operation. So there is a bank A. It is in America. It is in UK. It is in UK. It is in Russia. It is in China. Okay. ये A bank है. A bank. ABC bank. Okay. And it is in India as well. So in India, they'll file the profits and losses of Indian branch only. They'll file the profits and loss of A in A, UK में UK के, R में R के, C में C के. That is China में China के. What are the profits they are earning from China? They'll file it in China. From Russia in Russia, Australia in Australia, UK in UK, India in India. No, Indian branch will not ask RBI. They'll not. RBI cannot ask this Indian branch to tell us the profits they have earned in other banks, other countries. Okay, this is not something that guys allowed. submission of returns. Banks must return 3 copies. Banks must submit 3 copies of audited accounts and auditor's report to RBI and registrar of the companies within 3 months of the period end. When will the period end? The period will end on 31st of March. On 31st of March, the financial year starts from 1st April to 31st March. That is, from 31st March onwards, a company has 3 months, a banking company has 3 months to file their returns in 3 copies with RBI, with registrar of the company. And these audits are made by whom? The CA, which have been hired by the permission of RBI. The RBI may grant an extension for submission of an additional period for not exceeding 3 months. That is 3 months. May 3 more months can be added for extension. 3 more month extension can be given if RBI deems fit. Banks also furnish periodic returns for CRR and SLR. See, it is mandatory for bank to maintain their SLR and CRR every day. So in returns को भी time पे, when whatever the time, quarterly times they are mentioned, you have to file that on time. Inspection and supervision. Under Section 35 of the BR Act, the RBI has the statutory authority to inspect any bank's book and accounts at any time. The Board of Financial Supervision, established by RBI, specifically oversees the banking companies to maintain financial stability. What are they maintaining? Financial stability के लिए we need then oversight. We need a supervision from the RBI so that bank do not do whatever their whims and fancies wants they want them to do. Merger, amalgamation and winding up. Amalgamation can be voluntary or compulsory. Amalgamation means amalgamation and merger are almost the same thing. Amalgamate, milna, ikhatta hona. Merger and amalgamation. It is the choice of the bank, choice of the companies to amalgamate, or it can be compulsory. It can be mandated by the RBI. Next, RBI can apply for moratorium, that is temporary business suspension, to prepare a scheme for banks reconstruction or amalgamation. RBI can petition the High Court for winding up, that is RBI can ask High Court ki winding up proceedings please start up. The winding up proceedings, the bank company is unable to pay the debts, the banking company is working against the public interest. That is it. That is what there was in Unit 4. Let's start the MCQs. MCQ number 1. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Why? Balance sheet and P&L of the banking company must strictly follow under Schedule 3 of the Companies Act. It is Schedule 3 of the BR Act. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 2 is also incorrect because foreign banks operate in India includes only global accounts, include only Indian banks, not Indian bank account, not global. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 3, 4 and 5 are correct. That will give us C as the correct answer. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding the statutory requirement related to publication, submission and display of the accounts by banking companies. 3 copies, right? Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Why? Because the banking companies must submit same set of financial documents to registrar under Section 129. Here, the section of Companies Act won't come. The section 32, I've specifically mentioned that in the notes. Section 32 of the Companies Act will come. 1 is right, second is wrong. So 1 is correct. 1 is correct. Second is incorrect. Third is correct. Foreign banks copy. Fourth is incorrect. Fifth is correct. Fourth is incorrect because banking companies are required to publish their accounts in general interest in the newspaper regardless subject matter. Banks do publish their bank accounts. Publish their accounts and balance sheets in economic sector, in the newspaper or magazines related to business, laws or economy. Not in every regard, any newspaper. General newspaper mein nahi. In specific area, specific newspaper. So statement number 4 is also incorrect. That will give us 1, 3 and 5. B is the correct answer. Next question. Question number 3 is on the screen. Statement number 1 is correct. 2 is not correct because we need RBI's permission. 3 is correct. 4 is again not correct because see, RBI direction to Mr. R to conduct special audit is binding. At the end, the expense is borne by the company, banking company, the bank, not RBI. Statement number 4 is incorrect. 5 is correct. That will give us C as the correct answer. C is the correct answer. Next question. Next question. Newly appointed compliance officer of Pravarthan Bank is a private sector banking company is preparing a regulatory filing and returns due to RBI. She is reviewing the timeline and format required for various statutory returns. During this process, she encounters the following situation and must act accordingly. The bank must submit a quarterly report of its assets in India under Section 25(1). Is the bank required to do so? Yes, the bank is required to do so. Next is the bank must also send a monthly return of assets and liabilities on the last Friday of the previous month. Is it last Friday of previous month? Yes. Next, she receives an internal note from the non-scheduled branch failing to maintain a prescribed CRR on a specific day. If you are not maintaining your CRR, you will be penalized. That is 3 times the bank rate. 3% above the bank rate. Head office is preparing a return of unclaimed deposits. Some of them remained inoperative for 11 years. That is, they will go in debt. RBI has directed the bank to provide daily asset data for its entire preceding month for special provisions. Which of the following actions or interpretations are correct in relation to compliance officer? The quarterly return must be submitted by the end of the quarter as per Rule 14A. Yes, it should be. The monthly returns should be submitted before the end of the month succeeding the month to which they relate. This is given under 14A. Yes, it is. The CRR shortfall will give us the percentage, that is 3%, and the next week it is 5%. Unclaimed amount is 10 years that you are not touched it, and compliance officer can refuse to provide daily returns. No, she cannot. You have to listen to RBI. Statement number 5 is incorrect. Everything except 5 is correct. D is the correct answer. Now you'll attempt the questions yourself. We have unit 5. Unit 5 with us, that is public sector, private sector, different types of banks. Public sector में we have banks that are made by the government, okay, that are having role of the government. Private में private individuals have made the bank. Regional rural bank are made under the RRB Act. Differentiated banks are made made under specific provisions. Cooperative under Cooperative Society Acts, and local area banks. What are these? Okay, we have studied them in detail in unit 5. So we have PSBs, PRSBs, RRBs, cooperative, local, and differentiated. Now, public sector banks. There are currently 12 PSB following major consolidation in 2020. The central government must hold 51% equity at all times. Voting rights of the shareholders are capped at 1%. Learn. SBI, established under the SBI Act 1955, acts as an agent of RBI where RBI lacks a branch, governed by the central board where a chairman and can have up to 4 managing director appointed by the central government for the term of 5 years. The audit must be replaced in front of parliament and discussed at annual general meeting. So these are the 12 banks that are public sector banks in India currently that we have. Private sector banks. Banks where the majority stake is held by the private entities or individuals. Most are incorporated under the Companies Act and are bound by BR Act or RBI Act. There are classified into old private sector banks and new private sector banks. That is, those who are made under 1968 are old and those made after 1990 are new. As of January 2022, there are 21 private sector banks in India. Through RRBs, that is made under the RRB Act of 1976. They have the rural commercial banking. Central government has 50% share, sponsor bank has 35% share, and state government has 15% share. Their NABARD role comes here, that NABARD helps them, the sponsor bank, to take decisions regarding things. There are currently 43 RRBs. No, there are not currently 43 RRBs. There is a change here. Current RRBs. Number of, it is 28 or 27. One state, one RRB. There are how many? Correctly. Currently, we have 28. 28 RRBs. 28 RRBs in India. Okay. We have had a lot of RRBs, but right now current is 28. A lot of banks have been amalgamated together. Cooperative banks. Subject to dual regulation, state government and RBI includes state center primary cooperative banks. Primary cooperative banks must have a minimum paid up capital and reserves of 1 lakh rupees. Under specialized bank, differentiated banks and LABs are there. Differentiated banks are payment banks specialized to leverage core competency and handle segments like low ticket unsecured loans, like Airtel Payment Bank. Okay, Airtel Payment Bank. Okay. Labs, LABs, restricted to 3 contiguous districts, only two remain in existence. Okay. Right now we have 2 LABs. Right now there are only 2 LABs in India. Next, so this is the gist of module unit 5. Okay, there are things regarding private sector banks and public sector banks. There is a topic here that is talking about the nationalized bank. They also come in the topic of this public sector banks, mean nationalized banks. Nationalized bank came from the Act of Nationalization Act of 1970 and 1980. Nationalization Acquisition Act of 1970 and 1980. Nationalized bank comes from these two acts. Next, question number 1 is on the screen. Question number 1 is on the screen. Which of the following statements related to the governance and management structure of State Bank of India are correct? See, State Bank of India is the one made under the State Bank of India Act. There used to be different, there was Mahila Bank and etc. branches of SBI. They got amalgamated. They got merged together with the State Bank only in 2017-2018 financial year. The central board of SBI is vested in the superintendence of direction. Yes, it is. Any shareholder exceeding the investors can exercise unlimited voting right. The voting right has been limited to 10%. The voting right has been restricted to 10%. Statement number 2 is incorrect. 1 and 3 are correct. A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following statements relate to governance and management of SBI? Statement number 1 is correct. 2 is also correct. C is the correct answer. Next. Which of the following are correct? Yes, it does. No. Audit of SBI is conducted by the officer of the bank itself. No, we hire a CA. All 5 banks of and Bharatiya Mahila Bank were merged with SBI effective from 1st April. Yes, it did. 1 and 3 are correct. A is the correct answer. Which of the following statements are correct regarding SBI? 1 is correct. 2 is not. Because RBI's approval is mandatory. RBI's approval is mandatory. Which of the following are correct? RRB consists of 35% from sponsor, 50% from government and 15% from state. Yes. RRB is appointed, chairman of RRB is appointed by NABARD in consultation with central. It is appointed by sponsor bank in consultation with NABARD. So statement number 2 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. No. Next question. Question number 7. Statement number 1 is correct. 2 is not correct because RBs must appoint an auditor without requiring approval from central government. No, we need central government's approval or RBI's approval. We can take RBI or central government's approval. Statement number 2 is incorrect. A is the correct answer. No. Chalo, question number 11. Statement number 1 is correct. Every nationalized bank should have a right. Managing director and chairman are always the same individuals. No, they are not. No, they are not. They are not the same people. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3 is also correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. Chale. Let's move to this question. Question number 13. Statement number 1 is incorrect. See, why? Because they meet every quarter. Every quarter, not 6 months. Okay, so statement number 1 is incorrect. 2 and 3 are correct. B is the correct answer. Question number 15. First is correct. Second is not correct. This clause does not apply. Third is correct. 1 and 3 are correct. That will give us A as the correct answer. Now we have NBFCs. 2 to 3 questions from this area. Okay. I'm not going to read this out. We are going to understand this. NBFC क्या होती है? जहाँ पे बैंक नहीं होता, where there is no bank, when you cannot, NBFCs are like bank, but they are not bank. They give money like bank, but they are not bank. They 1 second. They give money like bank, but they are not bank. When you cannot reach out to the bank, when you cannot take assistance from the bank, you can take the assistance from NBFCs. Dekho, if you want to take loan from the bank, na, you have to give at least a 3 years RTI or ITR. 3 years ITR. Okay? Banks do not give loans unless you have a 3-year ITR. The people who are rickshaw walas, the street vendors, they do not file ITRs. They do not file ITRs. They deal in cash. People who do not have much money, they do not know. Itna education wali cheeze, they do not know. Okay, so now they need money. Bank is not giving them money. Where will they get money from? They'll get money from money lenders. Money lender will exploit them because they'll be charging a lot of money. So for this, what RBI did is they made NBFCs. They said ki theek hai, for lesser compliance of things, for easier loan process, for helping the banks out, let's allow NBFCs. So we have non-banking financial companies. They are not bank, but they are financial assistance providers. Okay. There are different types of NBFCs. There is an NBFC for microfinancing. There is an NBFCs for which accept deposit. There are NBFCs which do not accept deposit. There are NBFCs which work for gold loans only. There are NBFCs which work in infrastructure only. So there are different types of NBFCs. There is a list of it, aggregate NBFCs, etc., etc. These NBFCs are they fall in a on stage level. These are divided as per the risk taking factor. If the NBFC is not accepting deposit from the public, or it is an aggregate NBFC, they'll be going in the base level. जो कम risk लेते, the one who take bare minimum risk, come in the base level. The NBFCs that take a little bit of risk, come in the middle level. In this, the NBFCs that they accept deposit from the public come. The NBFCs which are taking a little bit risk come. Then there is the high level NBFCs, like people who are investing in infrastructure, NBFCs which are investing in infrastructure. There are a lot of money involved where they are taking high risk. Because infrastructure means there is a lot of risk involved. Wow, because there are people who take away your money. जैसे आपने अमरपाली का सुना होगा, you have heard about अमरपाली, and there are a lot of contractors. They take money from the customers and they do not give the projects on time. There are projects of 2002 which are still pending. There's a project in Noida which was to be completed by 2012. It has been taken in the shadow of Supreme Court in 2021, and now that project, last year that project got completed because of Supreme Court. ठीक है. So infrastructure में there is a lot of risk. So that is why NBFCs which take a lot of risk go in the upper level. And there is top level. एक और level होता है. There are 4 levels, sorry. There are 4 levels. Base, middle, upper, top. In India, top is empty. Top level is empty. टॉप लेवल पे अभी तक कोई ऐसी एनबीएफसी नहीं है दैट इज टेकिंग सुपर हाई रिस्क. This is supposed to be empty because in India we are a developing country and we cannot afford to take huge risks. ठीक है. So these are the 4 levels of the NBFCs. These are the layers of NBFCs. ठीक है. Let's read this out now. Non-banking financial companies are entities registered with RBI. ठीक है. They actually deal in the loans and advances, acquisition of securities, leasing, hire purchase, insurance, and chit business. A company is not considered NBFC if its principal is involved in agriculture, industrial activities, sale and purchase, or securities, sale and purchase of construction of immovable property. So real estate, agriculture, trading activities, industrial activities में you cannot deal. Impact. NBFCs derive inclusive growth by providing microfinance, microinsurance to underdeveloped population, facilitating capital formation and generating employment. Regulatory oversight. The Department of Non-Banking Supervision, that is DNBS of the RBI, is responsible for regulating the supervision of NBFC. So NBFC को कौन देखता है? This department, DNBS. Under Section 45 IA of RBI, every NBFC must obtain a certificate of registration. Without RBI's permission, you cannot deal in money market. Dual regulation exemption. To avoid overlapping oversight, certain entities are exempted, like SAB, IRDA, National Housing Funds, and Chit Nidhi and Chit companies. They do not come in the purview of DNBS. If they are dealing in money, they do not get the purview of DNBS or RBI because they are already getting regulated by their specific act. Okay? Classification of NBFC. NBFCs are based on their activities and liabilities. By activity, like investment, credit and companies, so it is an ICC. Microfinance, that is they give छोटे finance, small amounts of loans. Infrastructure companies, that is giving the money, the NBFC that deals in giving money to infrastructure, for betterment of infrastructure. For factors, core investment company, जो investment measures, the companies that give loans out for investing in the stock market, and mortgage guarantee companies. By liabilities, that is how if you are accepting deposit from the public or not depositing deposit from the public, not accepting deposit from the public. From October 1st, 2020, the RBI introduced 4-layer regulatory framework. Base level पे there is non-deposit NBFCs with asset size below 1,000 crore and peer-to-peer NBFCs, account aggregators. Accepting deposit NBFCs, non-accepting NBFCs for asset size above 1,000 crore, HFCs and IFCs. Upper layer में NBFCs with enhanced RBI provisions, bank-like regulations and scoring methodology. Top layer में intended to be empty unless RBI identify a specific upper NBFC posing a substantial systematic risk. Capital and prudential norm. Net on fund of an NBFC is generally 2 CR. NBFC MFI, if you are a microfinance NBFC, it requires 5 CR. And in Northeast area, it can have 2 CR. If you are an infrastructure NBFC or an IDF NBFC, the net on fund is 300 CR. Capital adequacy ratio. Applicable NBFC must maintain a minimum of CRAR of 15%. CRAR का formula is CRAR is equals to tier 1 capital, tier 1 plus tier 2 capital upon risk weighed assets. This formula you have to learn because an MCQ of formula calculation question will come from here. Formula calculation question will come from here. I'm telling you that this will come, that means this will come. तो आपको ये फॉर्मूला एंड सॉल्विंग क्वेश्चंस आने चाहिए. Where tier 1 capital never dropping below 10%. What is tier 1 capital and tier 2 capital? Who will tell me? I have told you this in class. Who will tell me what is tier 1 capital and tier 2 capital? Tier 1 में the capital of the company, paid up capital, reserves, the assets of the company will come. ठीक है, like the money which is coming from the core. जैसे हमारी पेड अप कैपिटल कितना है, जो इस्टेब्लिश करने में आया था, the capital that is core in nature, that is mandatory in nature, is tier 1. जैसे losses, how is the company capable of covering the losses, from what they can cover the losses. And tier 2 mein supplementary capital comes, like those reserves which are not disclosed, revaluation reserves, the reserves that can come, the money that can come or cannot come, the money that is not sure the bank will receive it or not. Okay, that is, these are not the this is not the amount that can. These government alerts. So basically, tier 1 में is equals to equity plus reserve, and tier 2 is general provisions, general hidden provision. ठीक है, complete. So gold loan, so the tier 1 cannot go below 10% and the total CRAR cannot go below 15%. Gold loan special norm, NBFC with 50% or more asset in gold jewelry must maintain a higher tier 1, that is 12. Asset quality, an asset is classified as NPA if it is overdue for 90 days. We all know that. Exposure limit, this is important. This full slide is important. आपको you learn करनी है. You have to learn this slide. Lending and investment limit are unified into a single exposure. That is, one person ko you can give a maximum 25% of the total amount of your tier 1 capital and 40% to a single group against tier 1 capital. Against tier 1 capital. Please remember this. This whole slide is important for you. Okay. Corporate governance. Infrastructure. NBFCs with 10 or more branches are mandated to adopt a core CBS within 3 years guide guide path from October 2022. Governance committee. That is, they should have a risk management committee and a compliance officer. They should follow fair practice, that they do not charge more from the government, from the people. They do not sorry, misuse their powers. Co-lending model. Co-lending model में NBFCs can co-lend with bank and must retain at least 20% of the share. That is, suppose a person wants to take loan, a person can co-lend from bank and NBFC, out of which 20% of the loan can be, minimum 20% will be given by NBFC and remaining by bank. Minimum 20% by NBFC. In the co-lending model, minimum 20%. Ombudsman scheme. Entities accepting or those customer interference assets of 100 crore and above fall under the RBI Ombudsman scheme. Question number one. Question number one. Anybody having any doubt in NBFC? Anybody having any doubt in NBFC? Do you want to ask anything in any part of NBFC? Then question number one is on the screen. Please reply. Statement number 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is also correct. That will give us D as the correct answer. Question number 2. Same part hai, same, we are talking about the same paragraph. DNBS is the overriding regulating supervision. Yes, first statement is incorrect, second is correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. Question number 3. Question number 3. D is the correct answer. All the statements given are correct. Now attempt this question. Question number 5. Question number 5. The company, Zeta Holding Private Limited is incorporated in 2024, is planning to begin operations as a finance intermediary, provision lending to small enterprise and participating in infrastructure project funding. It has a net on funds of 3 CR. The management is unsure whether they require RBI permission. They do. It seeks your help to assess the following. The company also operates a chit fund in Tamil Nadu and it's operating under Chit Fund Act. So for this, they do not need permission. It also has initiated insurance under IRDA. So they do not need permission again. They plan to start factoring services under Factoring Regulation Act of 2011 and aim to grow to the asset size of 600 crore in 2 years. They are planning to float a separate venture at the arm registered with the SEBI. They also plan to launch a lending in Northeast and NBF model for expecting size of 400 CR. Chit funds are exempted. Yes, they are. Under C, the C will require registration of NBFC factor as the size crosses 500 CR. Yes, it does. Statement number 2 is correct. B, they require registration. No, they do not. There is no double registration requirement. So 3 is incorrect. NBFC mentioned in E requires an NOF of 5 crore, which they do not meet. C, NBFC is in Northeast. Northeast may we need 2 CR, not 5 CR. So statement number 4 is also incorrect. Statement number 5 is correct because the venture capital of SEBI do not fall under the purview of NBFC RBI registration. 1, 2 and 5 are correct. That will give us a B as the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Okay. Okay, attempt this question please. This is a good question. As I've just told you कि solution वाले question आएंगे. Please attempt this question. The Sigma Capital is an NBFC registered with RBI. It operates as a non-deposit taking company and is now planning to scale its new area. Their details are as follows. It currently lends 60% to its portfolio against gold jewelry. 60% means 12% हमारे को चाहिए कम से कम tier 1, ठीक है, but the tier 1 is 16%. More than 50% in gold jewelry need their tier 1 to be 12%. It plans to transition into NBFC, IFC and deploy 70% of the assets into infrastructure loan. The company's risk-weighted asset is 1000 CR, tier 1 is 1200 CR, 120 CR and tier 2 is 400 CR, 40 CR, sorry. The company fails to meet tier 1 capital. Yes, it does. It should be 12%. Under B, they cannot become NBFC as they fail to become 75% and deployment of 300 crores. Yes, they do. Statement number 1 and 2 both are correct. In CRR is 16% and the minimum requirement is 15. CRR calculate kar le. CRAR is equals to tier 1 plus tier 2 upon RWA risk weighted assets into 100. Right? This is the formula. That is tier 1 is we have 120 CR plus tier 2 is 40 CR. Risk weighted asset is 1000 CR into 100. That will give us CRAR is equals to CRAR will be 20 से 20 कट गए. That will be 160 upon 10. That will be CRAR is equals to 16%. Minimum is 15%. We are beating 16%. Is this okay? Yes. All the three are correct. D is the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Now, please tell me you have understood this question or not. If you have understood this question or not. Have you understood this question or not? See, I'm waiting for your reply. Until unless you give me a reply, I'll not be able to move forward. Hello. See, I need a reply, please. Hello. Moving forward. चलिए. Question number 10. Both the statements are incorrect. Statement number 1 and 3 are incorrect. Okay. Statement number 1 and 3 are incorrect. Let's see the explanation why. NBFC in the base layer are given to glide path in transition to 90 days NPA norm. Initially it was 150 days. Then it went to 120 days and 920 days from 2026 by 2026 March. 180 days is not correct March for NBFC March 2025. There is no prohibition on IPO for middle layer, upper layer. Instead, there is a limit of 1 CR per borrower. NBFC may apply strict internal cap if they need to. Now, next question. Question number 12. NBFCs adopt the exact ICAAP methodology. No, they do not. They do not adopt exact. like bank, they are expected to match them, but they are not saying to adopt. अगर हम same exact चीज we are going to say KNBFCs and banks are going to do the same thing. What is the difference between them? What will be the difference between them? Okay, so we cannot accept them to follow the same exact methodology. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Others are correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. Attempt the questions yourself. Last unit. Financial sector legislative reforms and financial stability development council. One, maybe two questions from this area. Okay, one, maybe two. I'll take a 2 minutes break here. Then we'll be starting here. Just 2 minutes. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. So let's continue. So first came the Narasimha Committee in 1991. They said that banks should be having SLRs, they should be having CRRs. They suggested a few things. Then in 1998 came another committee of Narasimha. They again suggested changes in the financial system. Then in 2011 came the this financial this council. Okay, 2011. Now, the evolution of the Indian banking sectors are primarily guided in two landmark committee by Mr. Narasimha. The committee of 1991 focused on the structure and functional issues of financial system, reserve requirements. It identified the higher CRR and statutory SLR to be aggregating at 53.5%. Tax on the banking. They are saying कि इतना ज़्यादा अगर हम CRR and SLR रखेंगे, if we will keep such high CRR and SLR, it is causing a taxation. It is causing a gravity of depression on the banks. Direct credit and subsidies. It criticized direct lending to the priority sector by lending poor credit appraisal and loan portfolio quality. It recommended that timely credit are more vital than the borrower substantial interest rates. Structural inefficiency. They also said that there is a structural plague, including over branching without assessing viability. कि आप बस branch खोले जा रहे हो, you are opening the branch, you're not even controlling the methods, you're not even controlling the people, you're not getting a good quality staff. So less of branch but better of staff should be there. Narasimha Committee 2 came in 1998. Okay. This committee reviewed the progress of 1991. So whatever the suggestions were made in 1991 were made applicable, and this 1998 committee came in force. आई दोबारा बैठे. They checked कि whether the 1991 committee helped in some way or not. Capital and risk recommended कि there should be better CRAR. There should be better risk weight. There should be quality norms. There should be ARCs, and there should be NPAs management properly. There should be discipline regarding the IRAC norms. Now, the comprehensive banking sector reforms post 1991, there were three pillars: competition, market force, and supervision. Enhancing competition was what we needed. Public sector banks were granted operational autonomy, that you work as per whatever you want to, and allowed to raise equity up to 49%. Why did it came in 1991? Because LPG policy came in 1991. We wanted LPG, we want liberalization, privatization, globalization to happen. That is why we said कि public sector banks can accept a deposit from the public up to 49%. 51% will be with the government. New entrances, that if somebody wants to come into India to open their branches, they can. There can be private banks, there can be foreign banks, there can be joint ventures. FDIs were allowed and there were differentiated models set up. They were saying अलग अलग तरीके के आप बैंक्स लेके आओ, you can have better banks so that there can be better financial structure in the country. Strengthening market forces, shifted towards market determined prices for government securities and disband administrative interest rate. Liquidity management, that is introduced auction based repo and reverse repo and pure interbanking call market money. The targeted long term repo operational allowed banks to borrow at repo rate for up to 3% to improve their credit flow. TLTRO is for long term repo. Please remember this term. Reserve, prudential and supervisory measure, reserve reduction, drastic reduction in SLR from 38.5% to 18% in 2022, CRR from 14% to 4.5% in 2022. There has been an update in the CRA. Oh, sorry. This क्या नाम है? Cash reserve ratio, CRR. Okay. Right now the CRR is, what is the CRR right now? There is a change in the CRR. What is the current CRR? Will tell me. Capital adequacy. Implementation of CRAR, while the regulatory minimum is 9%, the average ratio of the bank stood at 14.2% in March 2019. Current CRR is 9% with the CCB of 2.5%, making it as 11.5%. Making it as 11.5. CCB CRR is CRAR is 9% with CCB of 2.5%, making a total of 11.5%. Please remember this point. Supervision, establishment of board of financial supervision and CAMELS rating. CAMELS की full form is capital adequacy, asset quality, management, earnings, liquidity and sensitivity to the market risk. Financial Stability and Development Council came in 2011, constituted in 2010, strengthening the mechanism of financial stability, promote financial stability, bodies को regulate करेंगे. They should be focusing on financial literacy so that the people can know what their rights are. Chairman is Union Finance Minister, headed by the finance regulators like SEBI, RBI, various government security secretaries like Finance, Revenue, MEITY, the Chief Economic Advisor, the Chairman of IBBI are the people. This is a composition. You have to learn this. Structure is, it operates through various groups including FSDC subcommittee and interregulatory financial groups. Next, institutional and technological advancement. To handle stressed assets, legal framework like Lok Adalat, DRT, SARFAESI, this got introduced. CIBIL was created to know what is the status of the person in the market regarding loan. CISIL was created for big borrowings by the big corporates. EASE agenda of 2018 is to enhance the access and service excellence. Future technology is that we are working towards the MLs and AIs and blockchains, and we want to grow with the technology, and this is the rule where we are implementing technology day and day. Question number 1. Question number 1 is on the screen. Statement number 1 is correct. Highest LR for taxation. Statement number 2 is not correct. Direct credit was discouraged. Statement number 2 is incorrect. 1 and 3 are correct. A is the correct answer. Attempt question number 3. Presence of multi-regulator was reducing compliance risk. It was increasing compliance risk. 1 and 3 are correct. A is the correct answer. Question number 5. FSLRC was formed in 2011. December 2010 में आई थी, 2011 से we consider it. Statement number 3 is incorrect. Now, question number 7. Current CRAR is 9% plus इसमें है CCB of 2.5%, making it 11.5%. This is as per Basel Standard 3. As per Basel 3. Statement number 1 is incorrect. 2 and 3 are correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. Last question from the day. Last question for the day. Next, we have one more question. लॉन्ग टर्म रेपो है ना, लॉन्ग टर्म मीन्स more than 3 years, बड़े समय के लिए, ज्यादा समय के लिए, राइट, फॉर लार्जर पीरियड. ठीक है, दिस इज रॉन्ग. They do not allowed for short term, they allowed for longer term. Statement number 1 is wrong, 2 is correct, B is the correct answer. Last question. Lok adalats, DRTs were provided, camel system we introduced, Sybil Cecil got introduced. All the statements here are correct. D is the correct answer. Here I have completed all of the course that we have in BRBL. There is nothing that is remaining. If you want to ask me anything, please write that in the chat section. If you want to ask anything, those who are watching the class on YouTube, if you want to ask anything, write that in the comment section. I'll reach out to you in the message only. Okay? Thank you so much for attending the class.